beautiful people of YouTube. Welcome back to our cozy little corner of chaos where coffee is brewing, ideas are bubbling, and we're ready to whisk you away on another adventure. Coming to you live, or at least pre-recorded to feel live, from Jetolf AI Studios.
Hey everyone, Leo here, still trying to figure out how Mira manages to bring sunshine indoors. Seriously, she walks in, and suddenly the studio feels 10 degrees warmer and 3 times more chaotic. But, hey, chaos is our brand, right? Welcome back, listeners, viewers. Merkers in the comments section, we see you all.
Leo, you're just jealous of my natural ability to radiate joy. Speaking of chaos, you won't believe what happened to me just yesterday. I was trying to learn a new TIKDO cadence, yes. I know, very on brand, and I somehow managed to tangle myself in my own limbs and knock over a whole shelf of cookbooks. What?
Cookbooks? Mira, are you actually trying to cook now? I thought your culinary skills peaked at microwaving popcorn. But seriously, a shelf of cookbooks? That sounds less like a dance mishap and more like a personal attack from your kitchen? Did they all fall up into recipes for things you can't pronounce?
They might as well have. I think one of them was even judging me from the floor. Hey, at least I provided some entertainment for my cat. He spent the rest of the afternoon batting at rogue pages. What about you, Leo? Any near disasters or comedic moments since our last chat? Or were you just existing? Ori. Yes.
Existing? Mira, existing is an extreme sport for me. Let's see, my noteworthy everyday situation, yes. I went to a fancy coffee shop yesterday, you know, the kind where they describe the beans like they're vintage wine. I asked for a simple black coffee, and the barista launched into a 5-minute monologue about the notes of bergamot and hints of dark chocolate.
Ooh, sounds sophisticated. Did you taste the bergamot and dark chocolate? Wow.
Bergamot, dark chocolate. Mira, I tasted coffee. Strong coffee, which is all I require to function. The whole thing was so pretentious, I almost expected them to serve it in a tiny thimble with a side of existential dread. I swear, next time I'm just going back to instant coffee. At least it's honest.
Oh, Leo, you're such a coffee purist. But I get it. Sometimes simple is best. Anyway, enough about our clumsy adventures and caffeinated ramblings. Today, folks, we are diving into a brand new country comparison. And trust me, this one is going to be epic. Oh.
Epic, chaotic, possibly slightly biased, and definitely humorous, that's our guarantee. We're taking on absolute gems of Southeast Asia. 2 lands of smiles, spices, and well, let's just say interesting traffic. Get ready, folks, because today we are pitting Indonesia against Thailand.
Yes, Indonesia and Thailand. 2 incredible destinations, each with its own unique charm and, let's be honest, a whole lot of delicious food. We're going to be comparing everything from the bustling markets to the serene beaches, from ancient temples to the vibrant nightlife. It's going to be a wild ride. Wow.
Well, dried indeed. Prepare for cultural clashes, culinary showdowns, and maybe even a spontaneous dance-off between Mira and a street vendor. So, buckle up, grab your virtual passports, and let's get this comparison party started. First up, let's talk introductions, shall we?
Well, listeners, because we're diving into the jungle of general safety and crime rates in Indonesia and Thailand. It's not all sunshine and beaches, is it? We got to talk about the bits that might make your travel insurance. Oh.
Worthwhile indeed, Mira. Think of it like this Indonesia and Thailand are both fantastic holiday destinations, but let's not pretend they're Disneyland in terms of safety. It's more like, with a slightly higher chance of encountering a rogue pirate.
Pirates. Okay, Maybe not pirates exactly, but definitely a bit more spice in the safety department compared to, say, Switzerland for Indonesia. I always tell people, it's HUG, right? Like island hopping your way through a continent. So, safety vibes totally depend on where you land. Ah,
Jakarta versus a quiet beach in Bali. It's like comparing a rock concert to a Zen garden. In big Indonesian cities, especially tourist hotspots, petty crime like pickpocketing and scams, unfortunately, pretty common. Keep your phone in your front pocket, folks, unless you want to donate it to a local charity, unwillingly.
nobody wants to accidentally donate their phone. And yeah, scams are a thing, aren't they? Like, the classic helpful stranger who's suddenly your best friend and also wants to sell you a very overpriced tour. Well, it's all part of the local experience, I guess. If you squint and tilt your head.
Local experience, nicely put, Mira. Let's call it surprise souvenir acquisition. But seriously, beyond petty crime, in Indonesia, you also need to be aware of things like natural disasters, earthquakes, volcanoes. Mother Nature has a bit of a dramatic flair there.
Well, yeah. Mother Nature can be a bit of a diva in Indonesia. Volcanoes are amazing to look at, but maybe less amazing if they decide to throw a tantrum during your vacation. Ouch. So, definitely check for any travel advisories before you go, right? And maybe pack a good book for those unexpected airport delays due to ash clouds.
Ash clouds in a good book essential Indonesian travel kit. Now, shifting gears to Thailand, the land of smiles. Smiles are great, but do they guarantee safety? Not entirely. Bangkok, for example, is a megacity's come megacity problems. You know the drill, petty theft, scams, and the occasional tuk-tuk driver who thinks HES auditioning for Formula One.
To Formula One. Oh, Leo, you're killing me. But yeah, Bangkok is buzzing, isn't it? So you gotta have your city smarts on. And maybe avoid those really dark, deserted alleys late at night, you know? The usual common sense stuff.
Common sense is your best travel buddy. Mira in any country. And in Thailand, especially in touristy areas, be aware of drink spiking scams. That friendly stranger offering you a drink at a bar, maybe just stick to bottled water, unless you're ready for an unexpected and unwanted nap. Oats!
Yes, unwanted naps are definitely not on the itinerary, and sadly scams targeting tourists are a thing in Thailand too, right? Like, the gem scam or the taxi meter suddenly broken scam. It's like, come on guys, we just want to see the pretty temples and eat delicious pad thai in peace.
Pad Thai and Pisa noble travel goal. And generally, Thailand is considered quite safe for tourists, especially in the popular areas. Violent crime against tourists is relatively rare, but it does happen. So stay vigilant, especially in crowded areas and at night. And maybe learn a few basic Thai phrases, cause police station might be a useful one to know, just in case.
Police station in Thai, good tip. Leo. Though hopefully we won't need it. But seriously, both Indonesia and Thailand, they're generally safe for tourists if you're smart, aware, and not wandering around flashing wads of cash. It's all about being street smart, right? Aha.
Street smarts are your superpower, Mira, and a good dose of humor helps too. If someone tries to scam you, just laugh it off and say, nice try, but I'm a comedian, I've seen it all. Maybe they'll be so surprised they'll actually give you a discount.
I'm a comedian. I've seen it all. I love it, Leo. That's our new travel motto. So, bottom line for safety in Indonesia and Thailand? Be aware, be smart, and keep your sense of humor fully charged. And maybe check out Jet Off-Faye. And maybe check out Jet Off-Faye. We've got your back. Listeners, Our current topic, we compare political stability and social harmony into countries, uncovering how governance and community relations shape expat life. From reliable governance to peaceful societies, these factors greatly influence our daily lives and long-term plans. So, Leo, let's jump right into Indonesia and Thailand. What are your first thoughts?
Well, Mira, when we talk about political stability in Indonesia and Thailand, it's like comparing to spicy dishes. Both have a kick, but the flavor profiles are quite different. Indonesia, being this massive archipelago, it's like a political Zumba class, lots of movement. But somehow they keep dancing.
A political Zumba class. I love that, Leo. So, Indonesia, with its vibrant democracy, it's got all the energy, right? Lots of voices, lots of opinions, which is fantastic. But does that sometimes feel a bit like unpredictable for someone thinking of moving there? Ooh,
Unpredictable is one word for it, Mira. I'd say it's like watching a really long soap opera. There are plot twists every season. Sometimes a new character pops up out of nowhere, and you're never quite sure if today's hero will be tomorrow's villain. You know, Indonesia has been through a lot politically, from Suharto era to the democratic transition. It's a country that's still finding its political rhythm, shall we say.
so it's a country with a history, story to tell, and still writing new chapters. And Thailand, on the other hand, often feels like it's playing a different tune. Maybe something a bit more composed.
Composed is a diplomatic way to put it, Mira. I'd say Thailand is more like a carefully choreographed traditional dance. Elegant, precise, and you know who's leading. For a long time, Thai politics has been, let's just say, it's had its phases of military influence. It's like they have a political thermostat that sometimes gets set to coup d'etat when things get too spicy.
So, QDET thermostat. That's quite a feature. Well, so, for expats thinking about stability, Thailand might seem a bit less of a soap opera and more of a historical drama. Maybe with fewer surprises?
Fewer surprises, perhaps. In the short term, Thailand values order and hierarchy, which can be comforting. But history shows us that even the most elegant dances can advance. But history shows us that even the most elegant dances can have unexpected pauses or sudden changes in tempo. You know, Thailand's political scene has been dynamic, let's call it, for decades.
So, if Indonesia is Zumba and Thailand is a traditional dance, what about social harmony? Do these political styles reflect how people get along day to day?
Social harmony, that's the million-dollar question, Mira. In Indonesia, despite the political Zumba, there's this incredible gotong royong spirit. It's like communal cooperation, helping each other out. Imagine a giant neighborhood potluck where Asian helping you to the table, even if the kitchen is a bit chaotic.
Gotong Shoyang! I love that. It sounds so warm and community-focused. So, even with political ups and downs, daily life has this strong social glue? That's really appealing. Wow.
Absolutely. Indonesia is incredibly diverse, hundreds of ethnic groups, languages, religions of ethnic groups, languages, religions, all packed into this massive archipelago. It's like a human rainbow. And generally, people are pretty tolerant and respectful of each other, even if they have different opinions or backgrounds. It's not always perfect, of course. You'll find tensions anywhere, but the overall vibe is let's live and let live.
That's beautiful, Leo. A human rainbow with gotong royong glue. And Thailand, what's the social harmony vibe like there? Is it more serene?
Serene on the surface, perhaps. Thailand prides itself on my pen rai, which is like no worries. It's okay, don't sweat it. It's a culture that values politeness and avoiding confrontation. Imagine a very polite tea party, where everyone smiles and agrees, even if they're secretly thinking this cake is a bit dry.
Sounds wonderfully relaxed. So, does that mean social harmony in Thailand is more about keeping things smooth and avoiding rocking the boat?
Exactly, Mira. Thai society is also quite hierarchical. Respect for elders and authority is deeply ingrained. It's like everyone knows their place in the social dance. This can create a sense of order and stability, but sometimes it also means that certain disagreements might get swept under the rug rather than openly discussed.
So, Indonesia is like a lively, sometimes messy, but ultimately warm and cooperative family gathering, and Thailand is more like a polite, elegant, but maybe a bit reserved social gathering. Is that a fair comparison, Leo? Oh.
That's a pretty good comedic summary, Mira. For expats, it means understanding these nuances is key. In Indonesia, you might experience more political noise, but also find incredible warmth and community spirit. In Thailand, you might find more surface-level serenity, but need to be aware of the underlying social dynamics and hierarchies.
Someone is looking for a place that's politically predictable. Thailand might seem initially more appealing, but if value vibrant community and are okay with a bit of political roller coaster, Indonesia could be amazing? Wow.
Precisely. It's like choosing between a predictable but maybe slightly bland dish and a super flavorful, exciting dish that might occasionally give you a bit of heartburn. It all depends on your taste and your stomach for adventure. And for our listeners trying to decide which flavor they prefer, Jeddah has tons more info to digest.
Heartburn or not, both dishes sound delicious in their own way. And for a deeper dive into all these cultural and practical details, remember to check out Jeddah AI, your go-to guide for making these big decisions. And if you're enjoying our spicy comparisons, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube.
Absolutely, Mira. Hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe even leave a comment telling us which political zombie or social dance you find more appealing. And remember, whether it's the Indonesian archipelago or the Thai kingdom, understanding the rhythm is key to finding your groove.
All right, Leo. Let's chat about something that hits everyone right money. Specifically, how far your dollars, or euros, or whatever fun currency you're rocking, goes in Indonesia versus Thailand. It's all about the economic conditions and cost of living as the official jargon goes. We're talking job markets, rent, the price of pad thai versus nasi goreng, the important stuff.
Mira, you make it sound like we're choosing between noodles for dinner, which, let's be honest, is often the case for travelers. But yeah, economic conditions and cost of living sounds about as exciting as watching paint dry, doesn't it? But for anyone thinking of actually, living somewhere, it's slightly more crucial than debating the merits of spicy versus mild curries. So, Indonesia and Thailand, let's dive into the financial jungle, shall we?
I like that, Leo. Makes it sound like we're going on an adventure, but with spreadsheets instead of machetes. But hey, knowing where the job vines are and how much the fruit costs is definitely an adventure in itself. Speaking of job vines, I hear both countries are kinds onshore expats, especially in certain fields. Is that right? Like, if someone's dream job is professional beach lounger, are they in luck?
Mira, a professional beach lounger is more of a lifestyle choice than a job, even in Southeast Asia. I'm sure there's a market for expat beach lounger consultants. Maybe we should start that. But seriously, yeah? Both Indonesia and Thailand have been attracting expats for a while, and there are definitely job opportunities, though it depends on what you're bringing to the table besides your impressive tan.
Okay. Expat beach lounger consultant scribbling neck down for an Jeddah AI side hustle. Ooh, but for real jobs like, the ones that pay for the beach lounging, what's the deal? I've heard tourism is big in both, obviously, and maybe teaching English. Are we talking big bucks or more like enough to afford a scooter and some street food bucks?
Scooter and street food bucks, that's actually a pretty accurate economic indicator for Southeast Asia, Mira. Look, tourism is massive in both, no question. Thailand especially is like the OG backpacker paradise turned mainstream tourist mecca. Indonesia, with Bali and its thousands of islands, is catching up fast. So yeah, tourism and hospitality always hiring, but often the pay isn't going to make you a millionaire overnight, especially in Thailand.
Sounds charmingly underpaid. But hey, charming counts for something, right? But if we're not all destined to be English teachers or resort managers, what other job vines are swinging in this financial jungle we're in? I'm guessing tech is creeping in everywhere, even in paradise.
Tech is definitely creeping in. Mira, like digital vines strangling the traditional palm trees. Both countries are trying to boost their digital economies, so there's a growing demand for IT professionals, digital marketing folks, and all those internet wizards. Jakarta and Bangkok are becoming mini-hubs, though they're not Silicon Valley just yet. And yeah, there are also opportunities in manufacturing. This is a bigger industrial base.
Okay, tech vines and manufacturing less beachy, more air-conditioned office-why. But hey, air conditioning is a major plus in that tropical heat. I'm not gonna lie. But what about the actual money, Leo? Are we talking retirement and luxury money or watch every penny and maybe splurge on a fancy mango smoothie once a month money? Give it to us straight.
Mira, retirement luxury money in Southeast Asia often depends on where your money is coming from, not just where you're working. If you're earning a Western salary and living in Indonesia or Thailand, your purchasing power goes way up. Local salaries, though, are generally lower than in Western countries, reflecting the lower cost of living. So, it's more managed comfortably if you're sensible and maybe splurge on a fancy mango smoothie every week if you're feeling wild.
Wild mango smoothie weeks. I can work with that. Ooh, but cost of living, that's the real puzzle, isn't it? Like, I've seen Instagram photos of villas in Bali that look cheaper than my shoe closet, but then I hear stories of Bangkok rents being as crazy as New York. Is it all over the map? Or are there some general cost of living vibes for each country?
It's definitely not shoe closet villa cheap across the board, Mira, unless your shoe closet is, shall we say, extremely modest. Yes, cost of living varies wildly depending on location and lifestyle in both countries. Generally, Indonesia, outside of super touristy Bali, tends to be a bit cheaper than Thailand overall. But major cities like Jakarta and Bangkok can still be pricey, especially for Western-style accommodation and imported goods.
Jakarta versus Bangkok in the price wars, who wins? Or loses, I guess, if we're talking about our wallets. Is one gonna bleed a stripe faster than the other? Or are they both in the same ouch? My rent ballpark.
In the ouch my rent ballpark, they're definitely in the same league, Mira. Bangkok and Jakarta are both capital cities, business hubs, and popular expat destinations, and popular apartments in central areas. Maybe Bangkok edges out Jakarta slightly as being potentially a tad more expensive, especially in super trendy neighborhoods. But honestly, it's not a massive difference.
Okay, ouch my rent ballpark twins. Good to know. But what about the fun stuff? Food, entertainment. The all-important scarce field as our scooter and street food, but stretch further in one country than the other. Or is it all pretty much Southeast Asia bargain bliss across the board? Ahaha!
Southeast Asia bargain bliss, I like the sound of that, Mira. Oh, and for everyday expenses like food, local transport, and entertainment, yeah. Both Indonesia and Thailand are generally budget-friendly compared to Western countries. Street food is ridiculously cheap and delicious in both. Local transport options like buses and trains are super affordable. Entertainment, if you stick to local bars and markets, won't break the bank either. Indonesia might have a slight edge on cheaper local food overall, but it's marginal.
Marginal street food savings. Every little bit counts when you're living that scooter and street food bucks lifestyle, right? But what about fancy pants stuff? Like, if you suddenly win the lottery, or just, want to treat yourself to a bit of luxury, is one country better for a bit of luxury? Is one country better for living it up? Without completely emptying your bank account. 5-star hotels, rooftop bars, maybe even gas imported cheese.
Imported cheese, the ultimate expat luxury item. For living it up, both countries offer plenty of options, Mira. Thailand, being a more established tourist destination, probably has a wider range of high-end hotels, fancy restaurants, and luxury shopping. But Indonesia, especially Bali, is catching up fast with its own share of spa experiences. Imported cheese will probably cost you an almond egg in both, though.
Almond cheese. Maybe I'll stick to mango smoothies after all. But overall, if someone's thinking about their wallet and where it'll be happiest, Indonesia or Thailand, is there a clear budget winner in this economic face-off? Or is it more about pick your paradise and figure out the finances later?
Mira, pick your paradise and figure out the finances later sounds like the motto of every 20-something backpacker ever. But if we're being practical, Indonesia generally offers a slightly lower cost of living overall, especially if you venture beyond Bali and Jakarta. But Thailand is still incredibly affordable compared to Western countries, and its infrastructure and tourism a bit more developed. More like different shades of budget-friendly paradise, depending on your priorities.
Different shades of budget-friendly paradise. Ooh, I like that too. We should trademark that, Leo. Jet Off AI presents different shades of budget-friendly paradise. It's got a ring to it. But seriously, thanks for breaking down the money jungle for us, Leo. It sounds like whichever paradise people pick, as long as they're sensible with their scooter and street food bucks, they can make it work.
Exactly, Mira. I'd maybe invest in a good mosquito net. Those are pretty cheap in both countries, and arguably more essential than imported cheese. And for anyone wanting to dig deeper into the financial nitty-gritty, Jet Off AI is always a great place to explore more detailed cost of living comparisons and expat resources, right?
Absolutely, oh. Jet Off AI is like our financial jungle guide, without the actual jungle and with way more helpful spreadsheets. And hey, if you're enjoying our podcast adventures, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. It's free, and it helps us keep bringing you these budget-friendly paradise chats.
Indeed, folks. Like, subscribe, and maybe send us some of that Armand leg cheese purely for research purposes, of course. Until next time, keep your wallets happy and your adventures wild.
Alrighty, folks. Let's chat about where you might lay your head if you're thinking of Indonesia or Thailand. Accommodation, baby. It's not just about the walls and a roof. It's about your vacation vibe, or your moving here reality, right?
Indeed, Mira. Finding a decent place to crash is crucial, unless you plan on becoming a professional beach sleeper, which, by the way, I almost considered in Thailand once after a particularly strong iced coffee. But for those of us seeking slightly more comfort, let's talk bricks and mortar, Indonesian style versus Thai charm.
Indonesian style! Okay, picture this volley. Villas, 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 villas. Villa. You can practically trip over a gorgeous villa there. Some with infinity pools that seem to spill right into the rice paddies. It's like living in a postcard over, each with its own little personality. It's like every place has a story to tell you now. Oh.
Stories, yes, often involving geckos and questionable plumbing, but stories nonetheless. Thailand, on the other hand, leans into the bungalow by the beach fantasy, doesn't it? Those cute little wooden huts, sometimes a bit rustic, but hey, you're steps from the same. Plus Bangkok, condos galore, skyscrapers popping up like bamboo after a rain shower. Quite a contrast.
Oh, totally different vibes. In Indonesia, especially outside the big cities, it feels more spread out, more like little pockets of paradise. You can find these hidden gems, these family-run places where the grandma cooks breakfast and the kids bring you fresh mangoes. Ooh, it's so heartwarming. Like, you're not just a guest, you're part of the extended family for a bit.
Extended family with potential for extended awkward silences if your Bahasa Indonesia is as good as mine, which is to say, non-existent. But you're right, Indonesia has that homey feel. Thailand, especially in tourist hotspots, can be a bit more, shall we say, efficient. Hotels are slick, resorts are polished, service is often top-notch. It's like they've streamlined Paradise Deliver.
Streamlined paradise. I love that. But you know, that efficient vibe can also mean it feels a little less personal sometimes. But in Thailand, you might get amazing hotel service, but in Indonesia, you might get invited to a by your guest house owner. Whoa, different kinds of awesome, for sure.
Different indeed. Think of it this way in Thailand, you're often paying for the experience, the luxury resort, the perfect beach view. In Indonesia, you're often paying for authenticity, that quirky guest house, the local neighborhood feel. Both valid, just depends what your travel suitcase or roving van is packing.
And price-wise, it's interesting, right? Indonesia can be surprisingly budget-friendly, especially if you're willing to wander off the beaten path and stay in local spots. You can find incredible value for money. Aha! Thailand, especially the islands and fancy Bangkok areas, can get pricey, no question. But still compared to, say, Europe. Say, both are generally kinder to the wallet, right?
Kinder to the wallet, yes, kinder to the back when sleeping on some Indonesian hostel mattresses, debatable. But seriously, you can stretch your budget further in both places than you might think. Indonesia for budget backpacker bliss. Thailand for mid-range comfort and luxury on a relative steal compared to Western prices. It's all relative, as my accountant keeps reminding me when I try to expense another research trip.
Research trips, Leo. In onto you. In onto you. And quality-wise, it's also interesting. In Thailand, especially in tourist areas, the standards are generally pretty consistent, pretty good. You know what you're getting often. Indonesia can be a bit more varied. You can find absolute gems, but also places where quality control might be a suggestion rather than a rule. Oops.
Suggestion, yes, like maybe consider cleaning the bathroom sometime this decade. But that's part of the charm, isn't it, Mira? The unpredictable adventure. You might get a 5-star experience for the star prices in Indonesia, or you might get a 2-star experience for what you thought was a 3-star price. It's a gamble. Thailand is the safer bet for consistent quality, especially if you're booking online and relying on reviews.
And for long-term stays, like if you're thinking of living in either place, the accommodation picture changes a bit. Doesn't it? Renting an apartment in Jakarta versus Chiang Mai, for example, is a whole different ballgame.
Oh, absolutely. Jakarta is Jakarta. Apartments, traffic, maybe a slightly less relaxed vibe than some other Indonesian spots. Chiang Mai, though, expat haven. Apartments, houses, villas, all sorts of options, often with pools, gyms, the whole shebang, and at pretty decent prices. Thailand generally is geared up for apps in way Indonesia, outside of Bali perhaps, isn't quite yet.
Yeah, Thailand's been doing the expat thing longer for sure. Indonesia is catching up, especially places like Bali and maybe Jakarta. But Thailand, it's just easier, in some ways, to find long-term rentals, especially if you want those Western comforts. Think about it. Folks, are you after easy breezy expat life, maybe Thailand? Or are you up for a bit more adventure? A bit more surprise in Indonesia? It's all part of the fun, right?
Surprise, yes. Sometimes the surprise is that the air conditioning works. But seriously, for anyone watching this on YouTube and pondering a move, check out Jeddah Faya. They've got loads of info on accommodation in both Indonesia and Thailand. Real nitty-gritty details, not just my hilarious anecdotes. Though those are valuable too, obviously.
Jeddah Faya is your friend, people. And hey, if you like our chat, give us a like and subscribe. Maybe we'll even do a whole episode just on bizarre hotel experiences in Asia. I've got stories in Asia.
Oh, I bet you do, Mira. And I'm sure they all involve questionable fashion choices and near disasters with street food. But for real, accommodation is a huge part of the equation when you're looking at a country, and both Indonesia and Thailand offer some seriously interesting options. Do your research, folks, and maybe pack some extra mosquito repellent just in case.
Mosquito repellent in the sense of adventure? That's the packing list for accommodation in Indonesia and Thailand, I think. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. And don't forget to check out Jeddah Faya for all your expat needs. See you next time. Our current topic, we compare the ease of visa, immigration, and official procedures into countries, highlighting the bureaucratic journey. Let's talk about getting into Indonesia and Thailand. Because let's be honest, nobody loves paperwork, right?
Paperwork. Just the word makes my comedian senses tingle with potential jokes about red tape and officials who seem to speak in riddles. So, Indonesia versus Thailand in the Visa Olympics, huh? Let's see which country makes us jump through fewer hoops.
For Indonesia, I hear for tourists, it's often pretty smooth. These are on arrival from many nationalities, isn't it? Like, you just show up, maybe juggle a coconut, and boom, you're in. You're in.
Almost that easy, Mira, almost. You show up, maybe skip the coconut juggling unless you're really good at it, pay a fee, get a stamp, and voila, you're good for a bit. Though I've heard stories of people filling out forms that look like ancient scrolls.
Don't tell me they're written in hieroglyphics too. Whoa, imagine trying to decipher that after a long flight. Oops. But seriously, for short trips, Indonesia sounds quite tourist-friendly.
Tourist-friendly for the short haul, yes. But if you're thinking of staying longer, things get a tad more Indonesian. Suddenly those easy-breezy tourist vibes morph into a quest for the holy grail of long-stay visas.
Holy Grail. Ooh, is there a knightly order involved? Do I need to prove I can withstand dragon breath to get a long-stay visa? Thailand, on the other hand, what's their long-stay visa game like?
Thailand, they've got options like the retirement visa, which sounds perfect if you're retirement visa, which sounds perfect if you're, retire and want to sip coconuts on a beach. Or maybe a marriage visa, if you found your Thai coconut to share those beach sunsets with.
Coconut romance visas. How poetic! Wow, so Thailand sounds like it's when the retirees and the romantically inclined. But what about work permits? Let's say I want to bring my stand-up comedy act to Bangkok or Jakarta.
Work permits. That's where both countries start to, how do I put this gently, show their bureaucratic muscles. In Indonesia, getting a work permit can feel like you're auditioning for a reality show called Bureaucracy Survivor.
Bureaucracy Survivor? I can already picture the challenges today's task, contestants, is to get 3 different stamps from 3 different offices before sunset. And go,
Exactly. And in Thailand, while they're generally welcoming, work permits aren't exactly handed out with a sign of pad thai. You'll need the right qualifications, the right employer, and the patience of a meditating monk.
Patience of a meditating monk, okay, noted. Maybe I'll just stick to tourist visas and impromptu comedy shows on the beach then. So, official procedures in general, beyond just visas like opening a bank account or getting a local SIM card. Are they also a bureaucratic adventure?
Official procedures are adventures, all right. Think of it as an escape room, but instead of escaping, you're trying to get something done. In Indonesia, even simple things can sometimes involve multiple forms and a lot of smiling and nodding.
Nodding and nodding, the universal language of bureaucracy. Influent in that. But seriously, is it more streamlined in Thailand for everyday stuff like that?
Thailand is generally a bit more organized, shall we say. They're used to tourists and expats dealing with officialdom, but don't expect to be a walk in the park. More like a slightly uphill stroll in a bureaucracy park.
An uphill stroll in a bureaucracy park. Love it. So, for ease of visa and official stuff, it sounds like Thailand might have a slight edge, especially if you're planning anything beyond a quick holiday. But Indonesia has the visa on arrival charm for tourists.
Precisely, Mira. Indonesia quick tourist fling may be a bit more challenging for long-term commitment. Thailand's slightly smoother sailing overall, especially if you play by their bureaucratic rules. Both are beautiful countries though, even if their paperwork isn't always.
Beautiful countries with characterful bureaucracy. Ooh, well, at least it gives us something to laugh about, right? And plenty of material for our next stand-up routine.
Absolutely. So, I tried to get a visa and the punchlines right themselves. Thanks, Indonesian Thailand. Thanks, Indonesian Thailand.
So, our next stop on this whirlwind tour of countries is healthcare. Let's talk about staying alive and kicking. Or at least, not coughing too much. We're diving into Indonesian Thailand. And this time, it's all about access to and quality of health services. Sounds thrilling, right? Like choosing between a spicy cough syrup and a slightly less spicy one.
Sorry, said we can counter that. Thrilling is one word for it, Mira. Another might be slightly terrifying depending on your last encounter with a hospital. But yes, healthcare. Essential, unless you're planning to just tough out every ailment with willpower and maybe some questionable street remedies. So, Indonesia versus Thailand in the medical arena, huh? Let's see which one wins the least likely to accidentally get a leech attached to her.
Leeches. You always go seriously when you're an expat? Certainly things like, will I get decent medical care if I trip over a road durian? Become top of mind. So, let's survive there for healthcare access. Is it like Walk-in clinics on every corner. Or more of a hope you'd packed your own stethoscope situation?
Well, Mira, Indonesia, being a vast archipelago, is a bit of a mixed bag, medically speaking. Think of it like ordering nasi goreng could be amazing, could be an adventure. In major cities like Jakarta or Surabaya, you'll find private hospitals that are actually quite modern and can offer a good standard of care, especially for expats who are willing to pay. Access in those urban hubs, reasonable, if you know what to look and have the rupiah.
Kaya being key, I'm guessing. Ooh. So, private is the way to go in the cities for Indonesia then. What about outside the big smoke? Imagine you're living on a gorgeous island, far from the madding crowds, and you suddenly need, say, to get your appendix to stop acting like a drama queen. Oops.
Island life and medical emergencies, a classic expat dilemma. Outside of the major Indonesian cities, access can become, shall we say, more rustic. Public health care exists. It's called BPJS, but quality and resources can vary wildly, particularly in more remote areas. Think long travel times to facilities, maybe less English specialized services. Aha! Your appendix might have to learn to behave itself through sheer willpower.
Wow, appendicitis by willpower. New wellness trend alert. New wellness trend alert. Hee. Okay, so Indonesia city private goodish. Rural public potentially an adventure. Let's flip the coin and look at Thailand. Land of smiles and hopefully land of accessible healthcare. Is it all sunshine and medical roses there, Neo?
Thailand, Mira, is often touted as a medical tourism hotspot, and for good reason. Bangkok and other major cities are practically overflowing with private hospitals that are genuinely world-class. We're talking shiny facilities, internationally trained doctors, often fluent in English, and a wide range of specialties. Access in urban Thailand, top-notch. Almost feels like you're in a hotel sometimes, albeit a slightly sterile one.
Fans. Maybe they have little mints on the pillows? Or maybe a tiny pelly instead? Seriously though, that sounds pretty reassuring. So, Thailand's urban healthcare is winning points. But what about the charming countryside? Are we talking similar access levels? Or does it start to get a bit lost in translation medically speaking?
Well, even in rural Thailand, the healthcare infrastructure is generally more developed and accessible compared to Indonesia's more far-flung areas. You'll still find a network of public hospitals and clinics even outside the major tourist hubs. Quality can still vary, but overall Boston better funded than major tourist hubs. Plus, private options are still often available in Indonesia's. Plus, private options are still often available in smaller cities and towns, though maybe not quite as glitzy as Bangkok as medical palaces.
I love it. Okay. So Thailand seems to be scoring higher on accessibility and maybe overall baseline quality, even in rural areas. But what about the actual quality of care? Are we talking cutting-edge treatments in both countries? Or is it more like different levels of medical artistry?
Medical artistry, Mira. You have a way with words. In terms of quality again, it's nuanced. In the top private hospitals in both Indonesia and Thailand, you can expect excellent quality care, comparable to Western standards. These places invest heavily in technology, training, and attracting top medical professionals. Wow, you're paying for it, of course, but you're getting premium service.
Premium service. Premium price. Gotcha. What about the average quality, though? For the everyday expat who's not necessarily rolling in medical insurance dough, are we talking generally competent doctors in both places? Or should I be brushing up on my medical textbooks just in case? Whoa!
For everyday medical needs in both countries, you'll generally find competent doctors, especially in urban areas. However, language can be a bigger barrier in Indonesia, especially outside of tourist zones or private hospitals. In Thailand, English proficiency among medical staff, particularly in private facilities, is generally higher. So, communication might be smoother in Thailand, which, when you're feeling unwell, is a definite plus.
Trying to explain your symptoms in charades when you feel like death, warmed up, not ideal. Ouch. So, Thailand edging ahead on quality, maybe partly due to better communication. What about costs? Is one of these places going to bankrupt you faster if you, say, need to get a bone reset after one of my legendary dance-offs?
Cost is a big factor, and this is where both countries can be attractive compared to, say, the US or Europe. Generally, healthcare in both Indonesia and Thailand, even in private hospitals, is significantly more affordable. Thailand, while having excellent private care, can be pricier than Indonesia, especially in Bangkok's top hospitals. Indonesia can offer very competitive prices, particularly in its private sector, for comparable treatments. Although you might need to do your research to find those quality facilities. So, Indonesia could be the budget-friendlier option, possibly.
Budget-friendly is always good. Especially if you're planning on sampling all the street food, you know, just in case. So, if we're an expat choosing between Indonesia and Thailand purely on healthcare access and quality, what's the quick takeaway drive? Leo, should we pack our bags for Bangkok or Jakarta if we're medically inclined or medically clumsy? Like me?
If healthcare is a top priority and you value ease of access, generally good quality across the board, and smoother communication, Thailand probably edges out Indonesia. Its private system is very well developed, and even public healthcare is relatively accessible. Indonesia offers affordability and good private care in major cities, but access and quality can be more value-specific than quality can be. It really depends on your specific needs, budget, and where you plan to live.
It's not a clear-cut medical smackdown, more like a nuanced healthcare handshake. Both have pros and cons, depending on your expat lifestyle and your tolerance for medical adventures. Well, listeners, hopefully that gave you a bit of a health check on Indonesia and Thailand. If you're watching on YouTube, let us know in the comments, have you had any interesting medical experiences in their country? Well, using hopefully, not all costs.
And if you're planning your own medical adventure, or just a regular trip, head over to Jetofea. They might not be able to diagnose your exotic ailments, but they can certainly help you plan your journey to either of these fascinating countries. And remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this comparative anatomy of healthcare systems. Oh, maybe we'll do Dental Tourism Showdown next time.
Okay, yeah. Let's talk about getting around in Indonesia and Thailand. Transportation time. Because nobody wants to be stuck in transit forever, right?
Exactly, Mira. Unless the transit involves a really comfy train and someone serving me endless coffee. But yeah, for most of us, getting from point A to point B quickly is key. So, Indonesia versus Thailand in the transport arena, who takes the gold medal?
Well, Indonesia, being this massive archipelago, it's like, hey, we've got islands for days. And, well, getting between them can be an adventure. Ooh, think ferries, boats, maybe even swimming if you're feeling really adventurous.
Swimming between islands in Indonesia? Sounds like my kind of commute. Though I'd probably end up in the wrong country. But you're right, Indonesia's geography is a bit of a transport challenge, isn't it?
And they're working on it, you know. In the big cities like Jakarta, they've got the Transjakarta Bus Rapid Transit, which is like super popular. It's trying to fight that legendary Jakarta traffic. Whoa!
Jakarta traffic. I've heard tales. Legends even. Is it true you need to factor in geological temescal when planning a journey across town? But buses are a start. What about trains in Indonesia?
They do have trains, mostly in Java and Sumatra. They're not as extensive as some places, but they can be scenic. Imagine chugging along, seeing rice paddies whizzing by. It's a different vibe than being crammed in Jakarta traffic. That's for sure.
Scenic train rides are nice, as long as scenic doesn't also mean takes 3 days to reach the next town. Thailand, on the other hand, feels a bit more. Connected maybe? Bangkok has got the SkyTrain and the metro, right?
Yes. Bangkok's public transport is actually pretty slick. SkyTrain, metro, even riverboats. You can zip around quite efficiently. It's like they looked at Jakarta traffic and said, Nope. We're going over this?
Going over the traffic, brilliant. Though I bet even the SkyTrain has Rush Hour Madness. Still, it's a lot more developed than what Indonesia offers for city commuting, wouldn't you say?
I think for city travel, especially in Bangkok, Thailand's got a definite edge. It's easier for tourists to navigate to, you know. Everything is a bit more streamlined. Indonesia's catching up, but Thailand's been at it longer.
Streamlined. That's a good word. Indonesia's charm perhaps is in its rustic transport options. Like those colorful Bimo minibuses. They look those color from a cartoon.
Bimos. They are adorable. And they're part of the Indonesian experience, for sure. Maybe not the most efficient, but definitely memorable. It's like hopping. We'll get there. Eventually.
Eventually is key, but you're right, those Bimos are characterful. Road quality, though, that's another story, isn't it? I suspect Thailand might have smoother tarmac overall.
Those are generally better maintained, especially in tourist areas. It makes getting around by bus or car a bit more comfortable. Indonesia, well, some roads are fantastic. Others, let's just say, they add a bit of adventure to your journey. Whoa.
Adventure being code for might lose a wheel in a pothole? But hey, that's travel, right? Adds to the stories. And for getting around Thailand beyond Bangkok, buses are pretty good, I hear.
Thailand's bus network is actually much anywhere by bus. And they're often quite comfy, especially the VIP ones. Plus, sleeper trains in Thailand are also a classic travel experience. Imagine waking up, rolling landscapes outside your window. Wow.
Sleeper trains in Thailand romantic. Might have to try that just for the Instagram photos. Indonesia, their intercity buses is as good as Thailand's.
Indonesia's intercity buses are also widely used, and they're improving. Some are really nice with comfy seats and entertainment. It depends on the route and the company, you know. But yeah, Thailand maybe has a slight edge in terms of overall bus comfort and frequency.
So for getting around within cities, Thailand seems to win on convenience. For intercity travel, maybe a bit closer, but Thailand still nudges ahead. What about airports? Both are big tourist destinations, so airports must be important.
Airports are crucial. Indonesia has got a lot of airports because islands. Denpasar in Bali, Jakarta and Sukarno have their pretty busy hubs. Wow, but maybe not always the most modern in every corner.
Not always the most modern diplomatic. Thailand's airports, especially SUV at Apama in Bangkok and Phuket International, feel a bit more airport-wide, you know, sleek efficient?
Thailand's airports often feel a bit more polished. SUV on Apama is huge and modern. Phuket is pretty slick too. Indonesian airports are catching up. But Thailand's have that established international hub feel.
Established hub feel, yes. So, if you're a traveler hopping between countries, Thailand might feel a bit smoother on the airport front. Less chance of getting lost in a maze of terminals.
But getting lost can be part of the fun, right? Oof. But yeah, for pure convenience and maybe a slightly more seamless travel experience, Thailand's transport infrastructure probably edges out Indonesia overall.
Seamless versus characterful chaos. I think that sums it up nicely. Both have their charms, just in different ways. If you like things super smooth, Thailand. If you're up for a bit more adventure, Indonesia might be your ride.
Characterful chaos. I love that, Leo. It's like, in Indonesia, sometimes the journey is the destination. You never know what quirky transport experience you're going to get. Ooh, and that's part of its unique appeal.
Exactly. And hey, at least in both places, you can always find a motorbike taxi to weave through any traffic jams, right? The ultimate in flexible transport. Just maybe wear a helmet.
Motorbike taxis. The saviors of Southeast Asian commutes. Just hop on the back, hold on tight, and trust your driver knows what they're doing. Fingers crossed. It's all part of the fun, though, isn't it? Every journey is a little story.
Every journey story, I like that, Mira. Maybe we should start a podcast just about crazy transport stories from around the world. Tales from the tarmac or something? But for now, Indonesian Thailand transport varied, vibrant transport variant adventure.
All right, Leo. Speaking of getting around and understanding each other, let's tackle the linguistic landscape, shall we? Indonesia versus Thailand language barriers and ease of communication. Sounds like a title for a travel brochure gone wrong.
Sounds like we're comparing Sounds like we're comparing the walls, Mira. But are they made of bamboo or bricks? Indonesian Thailand one's an archipelago of tongues. The other's got that sing-song Waichar. Let's see who trips over their own vowels more often.
Whew. Archipelago of tongues, Leo. You're getting poetic on us. I love it. Indonesia. I know, and I bet each one has its own dialect, right? It must be like linguistic chaos, but in a fun, colorful way. Wow.
Colorful chaos, Mira. You always find the bright side, don't you? Yeah, Indonesia's got Bahasa Indonesia as the official language, but underneath, it's like a layer cake of local languages. Imagine trying to order a coffee and accidentally asking for a goat in some remote village.
Hey, Ado flavored coffee. No, that's a story for you too. But seriously, is Bahasa Indonesia helpful everywhere? Or are you just totally lost once you leave the main tourist hubs? Whoa.
Bahasa Indonesia is the glue that holds it all together. Mira, like duct tape on 1,000 islands. You can usually get by in tourist areas in major cities. But venture off the beaten path, and you might need a phrase book the size of a brick. I just learned to mime really well.
Perfect. Travel my new career path unlocked. What about Thailand then? Is Thai as widespread as Bahasa Indonesia, or is it also a bit localized? Oh, and is it as melodic as everyone says?
Thai is pretty dominant throughout Thailand, Mir. It's the official language, schools teach it, monks chant, and it's everywhere. But those melodies, those tones, try ordering food and accidentally insulting the chef because you said my with the wrong inflection. Ouch! Suddenly your pad Thai comes with extra chili. Of disappointment.
Oh. Tone-deaf tourists beware. So, basically, in Indonesia, you might not be understood because of dialect overload. And in Thailand you might be understood, but you'll say the wrong thing because of tone trouble. Sounds equally challenging in their own unique ways.
Precisely, Mira. It's like choosing between being lost in translation by volume or lost in translation by musicality. Either way, you're probably going to point at pictures on a menu at some point. Thank goodness for pictures.
Pictures are our universal language. But what about English? Can you rely on English in touristy spots in both places? Or will you still need to dust off your rusty phrase book?
Tourist hotspots in both Indonesia and Thailand are pretty savvy with English, Mir. Especially in hotels, restaurants catering to foreigners. But don't expect everyone to be Shakespeare. Think more English light. Enough to get by, but not enough for deep philosophical debates about Go Coffee.
That's perfect. So, if you stick to the tourist bubble, you're mostly okay, but if you want to really connect with locals, learning a bit of Bahasa Indonesia or Thai goes a long way. Wow.
Absolutely, Mira. Learning even a few basic phrases in either language is like unlocking a secret level of friendliness. Suddenly, smiles are wider, markets are friendlier, and you might even get that extra spring roll for free. Whoa, free spring rolls are the ultimate international language.
Free food is a LWIS, a good motivator to learn a language. So, if someone wanted to try and learn either Indonesian or Thai, which one is supposedly easier for an English speaker? Air quotes on easier, because language learning is never truly easy, is it?
Easier is relative, Mira. Bahasa Indonesia is often outed as easier because it uses the Roman alphabet as relatively straightforward pronunciation and no tones. But easy is still subjective, especially when grammar gets involved. Don't let anyone fool you, language lurk out for the brain.
Brain workout. I like that. So, Indonesian is like a jog in the park, maybe? What about Thai? Is that like a marathon through a jungle with grammar gorillas chasing you? Dramatic imagery.
Thai is definitely more of a jungle marathon with tone gorillas, Mira. It has a different alphabet, those tricky tones, and grammar that can feel like a puzzle box designed by a mischievous muck. But hey, some people love a challenge. And mastering Thai? That's bragging rights for life?
Bragging rights in Tenderilla wrestling sounds like an adventure. So bottom line, communication-wise, tourist-friendly areas are manageable in both. But to really dive in, you gotta embrace the local lingo. Whether it's Bahasa Indonesia's island-hopping charm or Thai's tunnel tightrope walk.
Exactly, Mira. And hey, even if you butcher the pronunciation, locals in both countries are generally super patient and appreciative when you try. It's the effort that counts, right? Plus, mispronouncing things can lead to some hilarious stories for the podcast.
Podcast material is everywhere, even in language mishaps. Well, that clears up the language barrier landscape nicely. Thanks for decoding that linguistic labyrinth, Leo. Ready to move on to our next topic? Or should we practice Argo torturing mime first?
Let's save the goat mime for our YouTube channel, Mira. For now, let's move on before we get lost in translation ourselves. What's next on our comparative travel itinerary?
Okay, yeah. Let's smoothly transition into our next topic. Speaking of countries with a lot going on, what about cultural diversity and tolerance? It's like how many flavors of ice cream are in the freezer? And do they all get along?
Ice cream flavors getting along, Mira. That's surprisingly accurate. But yeah, cultural diversity and tolerance. Sounds less like a party and more like a UN meeting, doesn't it? But alright, let's dive in. Indonesia and Thailand, huh? Two countries that are definitely not beige when it comes to culture.
Indonesia? Wow, it's like throwing a dart at a map and hitting a different culture every time. Thousands of islands, hundreds of languages, religions galore. It's a real kaleidoscope, isn't it? Imagine trying to order food, you need a phrase book the size of a phone book.
A phrase book the size of a phone book. Accurate again, Mira. You're on fire today, or maybe you just had too much coffee? Thailand, on the other hand, feels a bit more unified, at least on the surface. But scratch a little, and you'll find more layers than a pad Thai.
That Thai layers. I love that. It's true, Thailand has that strong central Thai culture, but then you've got all the regional differences. The hill tribes, influences from everywhere. It's not just temples and tuk-tuks, is it? Well, it's way more complex.
Temples and tuk-tuks are just the tourist brochure, Mira. Beneath the surface, you've got a fascinating mix. Think about it, Thailand's been absorbing influences from China, India, even Europe for centuries. It's like a cultural smoothie blended really well. Sometimes a bit too sweet, maybe.
A sweet cultural smoothie, I like that, Leah. Indonesia. Oh, feels more like a buffet. You've got your Javanese dishes, your Sumatran spices, Balinese offerings, all laid out, and sometimes they're right next to each other. Ooh. And the tolerance part. That's the big question, isn't it?
So I think that we can conquer that. The tolerance buffet, served with a side of question marks. Indonesia, with its Pancasila, is officially all about unity and diversity, right? But in practice, it's, let's say, a work in progress. Aha! You hear stories. Some good, some less good.
Work in progress is putting it nicely, Leah. Sometimes it feels more like a cultural wrestling match. You've got the dominant groups, and then the minorities trying to get heard. It's a vibrant, sometimes noisy democracy, that's for sure. Wow.
A noisy democracy. I can picture it. Like a marketplace during rush hour, everyone shouting over each other, trying to sell their wares, or in this case, their cultural identity. Thailand's approach to tolerance is quieter, maybe. More about harmony and avoiding conflict, at least on the surface.
Yes. But is it always genuine? Thailand's known for saving face, right? So sometimes things might look peaceful on top, but underneath maybe there are tensions simmering. Like a volcano that's politely pretending to be a hill.
A volcano in disguise. Love it, Mira. Thailand's definitely good at keeping things smooth on the surface. But yeah, you're right. Scratch deeper, and you find the ethnic and regional divides. And the whole monarchy thing adds another layer of complexity to the tolerance equation. Whoa!
The monarchy. That's like the Supergirl holding everything together. But also you can really question the Supergirl, can you? Oops. It's a delicate balance, isn't it? You've got to respect the traditions, but also have space for different views.
Supergirl monarchy that's going in my stand-up routine. Mira? It's true, the monarchy is deeply revered, and that shapes how tolerance is practiced in Thailand. It's less about open debate and more about respectful coexistence within certain boundaries.
Boundaries, yes. Invisible lines everyone knows, but maybe doesn't talk about too loudly. In Indonesia, the lines feel more chalked in, rubbed out, redrawn, debated in parliament, then redrawn again. It's messier, but maybe more real.
Messier and real, if that's a good way to put it. Indonesia's diversity is out there, loud and proud, even when it's clashy a bit. Thailand's diversity is more subtle, woven into the fabric, but perhaps less openly acknowledged sometimes.
Subtle like the spices in Thai curry. You know they're there, adding to the flavor, but they're not always shouting for attention. Indonesia is more like a spice market, all the aromas hitting you at once. Wow. So, which is better at cultural diversity and tolerance? Is there even a winner?
Better isn't really the point, Mira, is it? It's like asking if pad thai is better than nasi goreng. They're just different. Both Indonesia and Thailand are incredibly diverse, and they both have their own ways of navigating that diversity with varying degrees of, let's call it, success.
Success being no major cultural food fights breaking out. Or maybe just everyone getting a fair share of the ice cream, even if they have different flavors. It's definitely something to keep exploring, isn't it? Maybe we should ask our listeners what are your experiences with cultural diversity in Indonesia and Thailand?
Great idea, Mira. Mira, listeners, if you've got stories, drop them in the comments on YouTube. We're always curious to hear your perspectives. And if you like this chat, you know what to do, like subscribe, the whole YouTube shebang. Keeps us caffeinated and joke fueled, thanks to Jet Off AI, of course.
Jet Off AI makes these cultural deep dives possible. So yeah, share your thoughts. Hit that like button. And maybe even tell us if you prefer Indonesian spice markets or cultural smoothies. It's all about the flavors, isn't it?
Flavors and jokes, Mira, flavors and jokes. That's what we bring to the table of the podcast studio whenever. Right? Shall we move on to nightlife? After all this talk about serious topics, we need some lighthearted fun.
Okay, Leo. So next up on our world tour of comparisons, let's chat about something super important for anyone thinking of planting roots or just expanding their horizons education. Oh, we're diving into educational opportunities and language schools in Indonesia and Thailand. Think from learning to read all the way to mastering a new language under the tropical sun.
Educational opportunities, huh? Sounds serious. Mira, are we about to become those professors with elbow patches and dusty books? I hope there's a comedic angle here. Otherwise, I might just fall asleep and dream of coffee. But alright, let's see if we can make literacy rates sound less like a snooze fest and more like a laugh riot.
Oh, come on, Leo. Education is anything but boring. Imagine all the amazing stories, all the jokes you could miss if you couldn't read. Wow, and think of the languages. Indonesian, Thai they sound like music. Thai they sound like music. Speaking of literacy, Indonesia has made huge strides, you know. They've really pushed to get more people reading and writing, especially across such a vast archipelago. It's like, let's educate the nation, one island at a time. Ooh.
Educate the nation one island at a time. Sounds like a travel brochure slogan, Mira. But yeah, Indonesia is massive. Try to everyone there must be like trying to herd cats across 1,000 beaches. Thailand, on the other hand, is a bit more compact, right? Maybe they have a slightly easier time with the whole schooling thing. Less island hopping for the teachers, maybe.
But Thailand hopping for teachers, true. But Thailand has its own challenges, geographically and culturally. But you're right, Thailand also puts a big emphasis on education, and they've got a pretty solid system in place there. And both countries are really interesting when you think about innovative teaching methods. Like I heard innovative teaching methods. Like I heard by using gamification to make learning fun. Imagine learning history by playing a video game.
Gamification? Sounds like my kind of education. Finally, a school where I can level up in sarcasm class. But seriously, that's smart. Kids these days, their attention spans are shorter than my patience waiting for a decent cup of coffee. So, yeah? Video games for history? Maybe IKTOK for geography. Who knows? Maybe I should go back to school. Nah, too much homework.
TIK for geography. I love it. Leah, we should pitch that idea. And Thailand is also getting creative. They're really embracing technology in classrooms, especially in urban areas. Think interactive whiteboards, online learning platforms. It's like education is getting a super cool tech upgrade. Oh, and it's not just about tech. It's about making learning more engaging and relevant for today's students in both countries.
Tech upgrade, huh? So, instead of chalk dust, we'll have blue light glare in our eyes? Progress! But, alright, tech is cool and all, but what about language schools? Because let's be honest, if you're planning to leisure Thailand, you're going unless you want to point and grunt your way through every market visit.
Exactly, Leah. Language schools are key. Both Indonesia and Thailand have tons of them. In Indonesia, you can find Bahasa Indonesia schools everywhere. From bustling Jakarta to laid-back Bali. And they're often super affordable too. It's like unlock a whole archipelago of experiences. Wow.
Unlock a whole archipelago of experiences. Mira, you're on fire with these slogans today. Are you secretly writing travel ads on the side? But yeah, Bahasa Indonesia, it sounds kind of melodic, right? Easier to learn than some of those tongue-twisting European languages, maybe? Though I bet trying to pronounce some of those Indonesian place names is still a challenge. Where are we going today? A place with the many vowels and consonants I can't pronounce. Ouch.
CAN be a mouthful, true. But Bahasa Indonesia is actually considered quite grammar-friendly for English speakers. And the locals are usually so happy to hear you trying, even if you mess it up hilariously. It's like instant friendship points for trying to say terima kasih. Oh, anti-language schools galore. Bangkok, Chan language schools galore. They're everywhere, catering to all levels and learning styles.
Thai language schools, I imagine learning Thai script is like trying to decipher ancient Thalian hieroglyphics. Whoa, all those swirls and loops. It's beautiful, but my brain might just short-circuit trying to read it. But I hear Thai is also tonal, right? So, saying one word with the wrong tone can mean something completely different or possibly offensive? Yikes!
Tons in Thai, why yes. They can be tricky, but also so much fun to play with once you get the hang of it. And yes, tone can change the meaning completely. My can mean something totally different depending on how you say it. But that's part of the adventure, right? Making hilarious mistakes is half the fun of language learning, and the Thai people are also incredibly patient and encouraging. They appreciate the effort, even if you accidentally order 5 dogs instead of 5 eggs. Oops.
Order 5 dogs instead of 5 eggs, okay. That's comedy gold right there, Mira. Nah. Imagine the waiter's face. Sir, you sure you want a 5 dogs with your breakfast? But Jan, making mistakes is part of it. It's how you learn, right? And I guess in both Indonesia and Thailand, just try to respect the language shows respect and opens doors. Even if you sound like a confused parrot at first.
Confused parrot is a great description, but totally true. And think about the cultural immersion you get in language schools. Many of them offer cooking classes, cultural workshops, temple visits. It's not just grammar and vocab. It's experiencing the culture firsthand. Ooh, learning Indonesian and then trying to haggle in a market in Jakarta and Bahasa. or learning Thai and ordering pad Thai like a pro in Bangkok. Priceless. Wow.
Haggling in Indonesian, I can picture myself trying to bargain for a batik shirt and accidentally offering them my left shoe instead of the right price. And ordering pad Thai in perfect Thai, that does sound kinda cool, I admit. Maybe I could impress some locals with my newfound linguistic skills. And then they realize I'm actually a hilarious comedian and not just a confused tourist.
Comedy transcends language barriers, though knowing the language definitely helps with the jokes. And for anyone thinking about longer-term education, both universities that are gaining international recognition, especially in fields like tourism, hospitality, and Southeast Asian studies. So, if you want to study tropical ecosystems or become a master of Mue, wow.
UA Thai in a degree? Sounds like the perfect combo. Get your brain and your biceps in shape at the same time. But yeah, universities in Southeast Asia are definitely becoming more popular. Maybe it's the weather, maybe it's the promise of adventure, maybe it's just cheaper than going to university in Europe or America.
Maybe it's all of the above, Leo. Affordable education, amazing culture, incredible food, and year-round sunshine what's not to love. And for anyone watching this on YouTube, if you've studied in Indonesia or Thailand, tell us about your experience in the comments. We'd love to hear about your favorite language schools or universities. And hey, while you're down there, like and subscribe. It's like giving us a virtual high five for bringing you this awesome podcast.
Virtual high five accepted. And yeah, comments section is open. Tell us your best language learning fails, your favorite pad Thai spots, anything education related in Indonesia and Thailand. We're all ears or eyes, I guess, since we'll be reading them. And don't forget to check out Jet-Off AI for more travel inspiration, maybe even some tips on language learning apps. Just saying.
Jet-Off AI is your go-to for all things travel and beyond. And speaking of beyond, let's move on to our next topic, shall we? Maybe something a little spicier.
Spicier. Now you're talking my language, Mira. Let's do it.
All right, Leo. Let's dive into our next adventure. Topic number 12. And get to the weather why. We're talking climate and seasonal conditions for Indonesia and Thailand. Sounds like we're about to become amateur meteorologists. What do you think?
Meteorology? Mira? With my fashion sense, I'm already predicting rain clouds daily. But seriously, climate and seasons in Indonesia and Thailand, it's like comparing a tropical smoothie, but with slightly different fruit. Ready to explore.
Now you tropical smoothies. Now you're talking my language. I'm picturing myself on a beach already. So, Indonesia and Thailand, both known for being hot and sunny, right? But there's gotta be more to it. Then, just pack your sunscreen.
Exactly, Mira. It's not just hot and sunny, it's hot, sunnier, and then maybe a bit rainy, but still hot. And then maybe a bit rainy, but still hot. Indonesia, being this massive archipelago straddling the equator, has this wonderfully consistent tropical climate. Think year-round summer vibes.
Year-round summer. Wow. That sounds like my kind of place. No more winter coats. No more shivering. Oh, tell me more, Leo. Is it just sunshine and rainbows all the time in Indonesia?
Well, Mira, hold your horses before you pack only bikinis. While it's mostly sunshine and warm, Indonesia does have seasons, just not the kind with leaves change in color. They have the wet seasons per season. Predictable as clockwork, almost except when it's not.
Wet and dry season's okay, I can handle that. So, the dry season in Indonesia is like extra sunshine time. Perfect for sunbathing and maybe trying to learn to surf badly in my case. But still.
Precisely. Dry season, roughly May to September, is generally drier and sunnier, especially across Java and Bali. Think postcard perfect beach isn't ideal for pretending you know how to surf. And then comes the wet season, around October to April.
Does it just rain all day every day? Should I pack an ark instead of a suitcase? Well, tell me it's not like a monsoon movie.
Not quite our clever rain, Mira, more like enthusiastic showers. The wet season brings higher rainfall, especially in the afternoon and evening. It's more like tropical downpours, dramatic and refreshing, than sunshine again. Think of it as nature's way of saying, let's cool things down a bit, folks.
Dramatic and refreshing. I like that description. So, it's not all doom and gloom during the wet season. Maybe it's even romantic? Imagine watching a tropical downpour from a cozy cafe with a hot chocolate. Ooh.
Romantic, if you consider dodging puddles and sudden billiards just romantic. But yes, the wet season can be lush and green, and sometimes you get fewer crowds. Plus, everything smells amazing after a good rain. Indonesia dufs. Life just keeps going. Maybe with a few more umbrellas.
Umbrellas and amazing smells after rain. Okay, Indonesia's climate is sounding pretty good. Now, what about Thailand? Is it the same but different? Like cousins in the tropical climate family?
Cousins, yes. Thailand is also tropical, but it's Anthem's more distinctly. It's got 3 main seasons, which is showing off, if you ask me. Hot season, rainy season, and cool season. They're really going for variety.
3 seasons. Thailand, you fancy thing. Ooh, a cool season sounds intriguing. After hearing you round summer for Indonesia, cool season in Thailand is piquing my curiosity. Is it like sweater weather in the tropics?
Sweater weather? Tropical edition. The cool season in Thailand, roughly November to February, is actually just less hot and humid, especially in the north. Think pleasantly warm days and cooler evenings. Perfect for exploring temples without melting.
Temple exploring without melting? That's a big selling point, Leo. I overeat just thinking about walking around in the blazing sun. So, cool season for temples, got it. What about the hot season in Thailand? Is it like frying egg on the sidewalk hot? Whoa.
Close to egg frying territory, Mira. Thailand's hot season, March to May, is seriously hot and dry, especially in central Thailand. Think seek shade at all cost and drink all the coconut water levels of heat.
Seek shade and coconut water. Sounds like survival tips for the Thai hot season. And the last season? The rainy season? Is it similar to Indonesia's wet season? Or does Thailand have its own rainy personality?
Thailand's rainy season, roughly June to October, is monsoon season. It's when the southwest monsoon brings rain, especially to the Andaman coast in southern Thailand. Think Phuket getting drenched while Bangkok gets damp. It's a bit more regionalized than Indonesia's wet season.
You could be sipping a smoothie in the sun in one part of Thailand while someone else is building a sandcastle that keeps getting washed away by the rain in another part. That's quite a contrast. Wow.
Thailand is a bit more climatically diverse within itself, season-wise and region-wise. And like Indonesia, they're used to it. Life, markets, tuk-tuks, everything just keeps rolling, maybe a bit slower in a downpour.
Tuk-tuks in the rain, that sounds like a fun, albeit slightly soggy adventure. So, if someone is planning a trip, what climate tip would you give for each country, Leo? Like, Indonesia for and Thailand for?
Indonesia for consistent tropical warmth and year-round beach vibes. Just be ready for some rain, especially from October to April. And Thailand for seasonal variety. Choose your season depending on what you want. Cool season for comfortable sightseeing. Hot season for intense heat and mangoes, and rainy season for lush greenery and fewer crowds and maybe slightly cheaper prices.
Mangoes in the hot season? Oh, Thailand just upped its game. So, both Indonesia and Thailand are tropical paradises, but with their own climate quirks and charms. Perfect for escaping those less tropical climates, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, Mira. For anyone watching on YouTube, if you're currently shoveling snow or shivering in the cold, just search Indonesia beaches or Thailand islands and let the tropical envy begin. And if you like this climate chat, give us a like and subscribe.
Subscribe for more tropical daydreams and maybe we'd even send you some virtual sunshine. Boo! And for all the climate details and more country comparisons, head over to Jet Off AI. We've got all the info you need to plan your escape to paradise.
Get off, eh? I use your travel compass, pointing you straight to the sun. Right, Mira. What's next on our country comparison adventure? Are we going to talk food? Because I'm suddenly craving a mango smoothie. Hey!
All right, Leo. Speaking of delicious things, let's dive into a topic that's close to my heart, and probably my stomach too. Food, culture, and nutritional alternatives in Indonesian Thailand. Oh.
Phew. Finally, a topic that speaks to me. Though, knowing us, we'll probably end up debating which country has the better chili peppers. Indonesia versus Thailand.
Culinary combat. I love it. Imagine tiny chef figurines battling it out with miniature woks and ladles. But seriously, Indonesia, with its thousands of islands, must have a crazy diverse food scene, right? Wow.
Diverse is an understatement, Mira. Indonesia is like a spice rack exploded across an archipelago. From fiery Sumatran curries to sweet Javanese treats, it's a flavor adventure. You could spend a lifetime just eating your way through it and still find something new.
Sounds like my kind of retirement plan. And Thailand, of course, is the land of pad thai and tom yum soup. Dishes practically everyone knows and loves. But I bet there's so much more beyond the tourist favorites, right? Oh!
Oh, absolutely. Pad Thai is like the gateway drug to Thai cuisine. Once you're in, you discover a world of fragrant curries, spicy salads, and street food that'll make your taste buds sing opera. And maybe sweat a little.
Slain. Why, Leighton? That's the sign of a truly good meal. So, thinking about nutrition, both cuisines use a lot of fresh ingredients, right? Lots of veggies and herbs and spices? That's gotta be a plus.
Yeah, they're not exactly heavy on the processed stuff, thankfully. Indonesia uses a ton of tempeh and tofu, which are great protein sources. And Thailand, with all its seafood and lean meats, keeps things relatively healthy as long as you don't go overboard on the coconut milk curries every day.
Coconut milk curries every day? Is there such a thing as too much coconut milk curry? Just kidding. But seriously, the use of spices must be amazing for adding flavor without layers of salt or sugar.
Spices are the unsung heroes, Mira. In Indonesia, you've got galangal, turmeric, lemongrass. It's like a natural pharmacy in your food. And Thai cuisine is all about balanced sweet, sour, salty, spicy, all dancing together. It's culinary tightrope walking, but they nail it.
Culinary tightrope walking. Love that image. And what about alternatives? Are they embracing things like plant-based diets or gluten-free options much in either country?
Well, in Indonesia, vegetarianism isn't exactly new. With a large Buddhist and Hindu population in some areas, there are already plenty of naturally vegetarian dishes. And tempeh and tofu are practically national treasures. So, plant-based isn't a huge leap.
Tempeh and tofu national treasures. They should totally put that on a tourism poster. Visit Indonesia and the tempeh treasures.
Thailand is catching up on the plant-based wave, especially in tourist hotspots like Bangkok and Chiang Mai. You'll find vegan versions of classic dishes popping up. Gluten-free, maybe less so traditionally, but awareness is growing, especially with the tourist influence.
So, someone looking for tasty and healthy food options. Both Indonesia and Thailand sound like winners. It's not just about filling your stomach. It's about a whole experience. Ooh.
Exactly. It's about the vibrant markets, the street food vendors, the aromas wafting from kitchens. Food is a central part of the culture in both countries. Just maybe pack some antacids if you're spice sensitive.
Antacids and an adventurous spirit. That's the recipe for a perfect food journey through Indonesia and Thailand. Whoa, I'm suddenly feeling very hungry. Okay, yeah. Let's dive into something truly fascinating now, shall we? Let's talk history, culture, and art. And art. Indonesia versus Thailand. round I don't know. Is it 14? Who's counting? Who's counting?
Round 14? Mira, you're making it sound like a boxing match between temples. But yeah, history, culture, art sounds fancy. Let's see if we can make it funny.
Oh, trust me, Leo. Even history can be hilarious if you look at it the right way. Think about it. Indonesia and Thailand, both steeped in ancient stories, traditions bursting with color, an art that just makes you go, wow, wow, wow.
Wow is the word, Mira. Especially when you're staring up at some giant golden Buddha in Thailand, you can't help but go wow. Just to avoid neck strain. But Indonesia's got its own wow factor, right? But Borobudur, that giant stone puzzle.
Borobudur. Imagine building something that mastered centuries ago without even YouTube tutorials. It's like they had a superpower. We've lost the power of patience and a whole lot of rocks.
Patience rocks, and probably a ton of people yelling at each other in ancient Javanese. And it's incredible. And then there's Pirambanan, just down the road, another temple complex. Indonesia's showing off.
Showing off their ancient architectural biceps. Piramban is like Borobudur's slightly more flamboyant cousin, all pointy and dramatic. Ugh. And both are UNESCO sites because you know, they're kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal is an understatement, Mira. They're like, hey world, check out what we built before electricity was even a twinkle in Edison's eye. But Thailand isn't exactly slacking in the ancient awesome department either.
Oh, Thailand's temples. Golden temples galore. Bangkok's Grand Palace. What a run there like glittering jewels scattered across the city. Ah, so ornate, so gold.
Gold, Mira, gold. You could probably blind someone from across the river just with the reflection off Wadi Run at sunset. It's like Thailand decided to corner the market on shiny religious buildings.
And the stories behind them. Ramayana in Thailand is like, whoa, shadow puppets, masked dances, it's not just history, it's a whole performance. Wow.
Shadow puppets, always slightly creepy, always mesmerizing. And those masked dances with the dancers practically bending themselves in half talk about dedication to art. Ouch! My back hurts just thinking about it.
But it's beautiful pain, Leo. Beautiful pain. Just like trying to learn a traditional Indonesian dance. Ever tried the same dance from Ace? It's like synchronized hand clapping gymnastics.
Synchronized hand clapping gymnastics sounds like my worst nightmare, Mare. It probably clapped my hands out of sync and drew in the whole thing. Oops. But yeah, Indonesian dances are incredible, so many different styles, so much storytelling.
Gamelan in Indonesia is like nothing else on earth. All those bronze instruments, that shimmering, hypnotic sound, it's like a sonic massage for your brain.
Sonic massage for your brain, I like that, Mira. Though sometimes it sounds like they're just banging pots and pans in a very organized way. But hey...
Unique is Indonesia's middle name. From Batik to Wayang call it. The artistry is everywhere. And have you seen Indonesian wood carvings? Intricate doesn't even begin to cover it. Wow.
Intricate wood carvings, yes. You could get lost in the details for days. Though, I always wonder who has the patience to carve all that stuff. Probably someone with a very, very steady hand and no internet.
No internet. The horror. But seriously, imagine the focus. And in Thailand, you've got those amazing temple murals, telling stories from floor to ceiling. It's like walking into a giant, colorful comic book.
Giant, colorful comic books with a lot of gold leaf. They really love their gold leaf in Thailand. But those murals, yeah, there's something else. You can spend hours just looking at them and still miss half the details.
So smooth, so smooth, so luxurious, so free. Try eating noodles in Thai silk pants. It's an adventure.
An adventure in stain removal, you mean?
But you should use it. Life's too short to keep pretty things locked away. Just like life's too short to not visit both Indonesia and Thailand for their amazing art and culture. Oh.
Spoken like a true art enthusiast, Mira. So, if you're watching this on YouTube and planning a trip, maybe split it. Indonesia for ancient temples and sonic brain massages, Thailand for shiny gold things and silk pants adventures.
Perfect plan, Leo. And for more travel inspiration, You know where to go, Jet off AI. They've got all the info you need to start your cultural adventure. Ah,
Jet off AI, your gateway to temple hopping and synchronized hand clapping, maybe. All right, Mira, what cultural masterpiece are we tackling next?
our current topic. We compare the natural beauties and landscapes of two countries. From stunning mountains to serene coastlines, undons to severe ecosystems, we explore the scenic wonders. Oh, Leo, when you think of Indonesia, it's like Mother Nature just went wild with a box of crayons, right?
Wild with crayons? Mira, that's putting it mildly. I'd say it's more like she had a whole art studio and decided to use every single supply she had all at once in Indonesia. Mountains, volcanoes, jungle supply she had almost jung off. Beaches it's almost showing off, isn't it?
Like, hey world, check out my 17,000 islands. Each one more gorgeous than the last. Wow. And those volcanoes, Leo? They're not just mountains, they're like nature's fireworks, ready to go off at any moment. Well,
Fireworks is a good way to put it. Though, personally, I prefer my fireworks predictable and scheduled, not erupting unexpectedly while I'm trying to enjoy a cup of Indonesian coffee. But you're right, those volcanic landscapes are something else. And then you've got Komodo National Park, dragons, real-life dragons. Tried hopping that Thailand.
oh, but Thailand's got its own magic, Leo. Think about those stunning limestone cliffs rising out of the turquoise Andaman Sea in places like Krabi and Phang Engie Bay. It's like a movie set, but totally real. And those beaches? Powder soft and calm trees swaying. Postcard perfect.
Postcard perfect, yes, if you can find a square inch of sand not already occupied by a sunbather or a long tailboat. Thailand's beaches are beautiful, no doubt, but sometimes they feel a bit crowded. Indonesia, with all those islands, feels like you've got more elbow room for your natural beauty appreciation, doesn't it?
True, Indonesia has space on its side. But Thailand's jungles are incredible too. In Khao Sak National Park, that ancient Trang forest, monkeys swinging, waterfalls cascading. It's like stepping back in time. Wow. And for animal lovers, Thailand's got elephants, gentle giants roaming around. It's heartwarming.
Elephants are heartwarming, yes, as long as they're in ethical sanctuaries and not being ridden around for tourist selfies. Important point to remember, folks, but rainforests, waterfalls Indonesia gives you that tenfold meal. Sumatra, orangutans, tigers, rhinos, the wildlife in Indonesia is just on another level. It's like a bio is just on another level.
Biodiversity bonanza. I love that, Leo. And what about underwater beauty? Both countries are amazing for diving and snorkeling, right? Indonesia has Raya Ampat, the coral triangle, some of the richest marine life on the planet. Wow. Imagine swimming with mant, or raising colorful fish in crystal clear waters.
If you can see past the other 50 divers trying to get the same photo of that manta ray, maybe. Raya Ampat is incredible, no argument there. But Thailand's got amazing dive sites too, especially around the Simoan and Srin Islands. And the water in Thailand's warm, inviting, perfect for beginners learning to freeze their toes off.
Warm water is definitely a plus. And Thailand's landscapes are so accessible, Leo. You can hop on a train or bus and be in a completely different scenic spot in a few hours. Indonesia, with all those islands, sometimes feels like you need a plane just to get to the next amazing view. Oops!
True, island hopping in Indonesia can be an adventure in itself, sometimes involving questionable ferries and bumpy boat rides. But that's part of the charm, isn't it? It feels more unexplored, maybe? Like you're discovering something truly special, rather than just following the tourist trail.
Unexplored charm. I like that. And you can't forget the rice paddies in both countries. Leo, those lush green terraces stretching as far as the eye can see. Especially in places like Ubud in Bali and Chiang Mai in Thailand. So peaceful and serene.
Peaceful and serene until a flock of tourists with selfie sticks descends. But yes, the rice paddies are beautiful. Though, if we're talking rice paddies on a grand scale, Vietnam might have something to say about that. But for Southeast Asia, Indonesia and Thailand definitely hold their own in the scenic rice paddy department.
Okay, maybe Vietnam gets a shout out for rice paddies too. But back to Indonesia and Thailand. It's like choosing between chocolate and vanilla ice cream, isn't it? Both are delicious in their own way. Ooh, for natural beauty, you really can't go wrong with either country. And you can see more comparisons like this on Jeddah AI for anyone trying to decide their next travel destination.
So I think that we can conquer that. Exactly, Mira. It's a win-win situation for natural beauty lovers. Whether you're into volcanic landscapes and dragons or limestone cliffs and elephants, Indonesia and Thailand have got you covered. And if you want to see some stunning photos and read more about these destinations, Jeddah AI is the place to go. Maybe even leave a comment on our YouTube video about which country's landscapes you find more breathtaking. Personally, I'm leaning towards the dragons, just saying.
Our current topic, we compare sports, activity, and adventure options into countries. From celebrated national sports to daring outdoor pursuits and active LIF.
Sports activity and adventure options. Mira, are we suddenly turning into extreme sports commentators? I thought our most adventurous activity was navigating the coffee machine in the morning.
Oh, come on. Leo, don't underestimate our adventurous spirit. Remember that time we tried to assemble that studio furniture? That was practically an obstacle course. But seriously, let's talk about Indonesia and Thailand. Think about it. They are like playgrounds for grown-ups, right?
Playgrounds for grown-ups, I like that. Although my playground usually involves a comfy couch and a documentary marathon. But alright, Indonesia and Thailand. Let's see Indonesia and Thailand. Let's see Indonesia. You think of volcanoes, right? Like actively trying to kill you volcanoes?
Well, I'm not trying to kill you, Leo. They're more like dramatically asserting their presence. Wow. Think Mount Bromo. Mount Arai ended up trekking up there, seeing the sunrise, it's epic. And for the less volcanically inclined, there's incredible surfing in Bali and Lombok.
Surfing me on a surfboard, that's a comedy sketch waiting to happen. You'd probably spend more time underwater than on the board. But yeah, volcanoes and waves, very dramatic. What else does Indonesia throw at the thrill-seeking crowd?
Diving and snorkeling, Leo. Imagine Raya Ampat, Komodo underwater paradises. Oh, coral reefs bursting with color, incredible marine life, it's like swimming in an aquarium, but way cooler. And for something a bit more grounded, how about jungle trekking in Sumatra or Kalimantan? Whoa!
Jungle trekking sounds like a good way to get lost and become one with nature permanently. Though I admit, the underwater stuff sounds tempting. Maybe if they have glass-bottom boats, that's my speed. So, Indonesia's got its dramatic side. What about Thailand? Are they just about relaxing on beaches?
Beaches are definitely a big part of Thailand, Leo. But there's so much more. Think Muay Thai. Whoa, Thai boxing. It's not just a sport. It's like a cultural art form. Imagine the energy. The skill, it's intense.
Muay Thai sounds painful. I prefer my fights to be with microphone stands. But I get the appeal. It's like culturally infused exercise, right? What else? Are there any activities that don't involve getting punched in the face?
20! Rock climbing in Krabi, for example. Railay Beach is famous for its limestone cliffs, perfect for climbers of all levels. Wow! And for water adventures, think diving and snorkeling in the Simolan Islands or Koh Tao. Just as stunning as Indonesia, but with its own unique vibe.
Rock climbing, another activity best left to professionals, in my opinion. I'm more of a grounded person, literally. Though, I do like the sound of those islands. Simolan Koh Tao sound, like names from a travel brochure. Are they as good as they sound?
Even better, Leo. Imagine crystal clear waters, whites and beaches, incredible marine life, oh. And for something a bit more chill, how about kayaking or canoeing in Fangengie Bay? Picture yourself paddling through those amazing limestone crust, it's breathtaking.
Kayaking I could maybe handle, as long as there's no chance of capsizing. And no crocodiles. Are there crocodiles? Please tell me there are no crocodiles.
Probably best not to think about crocodiles, Leo. But seriously, Thailand also has tons of water sports, jet skiing, parasailing, windsurfing if you're into adrenaline on the water. Thailand's got you covered. Whoa.
Jet skiing, parasailing sounds like a good way to get sunburned and slightly terrified. But hey, for some people, that's the perfect adventure. So, both countries seem to have a good mix of land and water-based thrills. What about, like, national sports? Anything iconic we should know about?
Well, Indonesia's national sport is badminton. Haha. Surprising, right? But they are HUGE badminton fans. Imagine the stadiums packed with cheering crowds. It's a big deal. Wow.
Badminton? National sport? I always picture them wrestling Komodo dragons or something. Badminton, well, alright then. And Thailand? Is it Muay by default?
Unofficially, maybe Muay Thai is Thailand's most iconic act. But they also have sepak takraw, which is, well, it's like volleyball with your feet. Whoa. Seriously impressive acrobatics. You have to see it to believe it.
Sepak takraw volleyball with feet that sounds complicated. And potentially painful if you're not coordinated. Which, spoiler alert, I am not. So from badminton to foot volleyball, quite the range of national pastimes.
So when it comes to sports, activity and adventure, both Indonesia and Thailand are winners. Indonesia for the dramatic landscapes and underwater wonders, Thailand for the beaches, Muay Thai and water sports go all...
Winners indeed. Though, I think you'll stick to podcasting for my daily dose of adrenaline. Less chance of sunburn or getting punched in the face. But for anyone watching this on YouTube and thinking about an adventure holiday, Jet Off AI can probably help you plan that trip, right?
Absolutely, Leo. Jet Off AI is your adventure travel guru. Whether you're dreaming of surfing in Bali or trekking in Thailand, they've got you covered. And if you like this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe. Maybe that's our national sport, getting likes and subscribers.
Podcast Subscriber Olympics. I like it. And yes, folks, Jet Off AI, your gateway to real adventures. Unlike our studio escapades. Check it out. Until next time, stay sporty or, just comfy on your couch. Whatever floats your kite.
Alrighty, nightlife lovers. Are you ready to dive into the dazzling after-dark scenes of Indonesian Thailand? Imagine twinkling lights, music pumping, and maybe even a little impromptu dancing.
Impromptu dancing, Mira? Is that code for you suddenly breaking into a Bollywood routine in the middle of a Bangkok street? I can just picture the tourists whipping out their phones.
Hey, but seriously, let's kick things off with Indonesia. Think beyond just beaches and temples, because when the sun dips down, Indonesia knows how to turn up the fun.
Indonesia, right? Less of the neon soak, in your face party vibing morally. How do I put this delicately? Hidden gem approach to nightlife. Like you have to know where to look. And maybe bring a map in the compass.
Yo, you make it sound like a treasure hunt. It's more like Indonesia's nightlife is a bit more nuanced. A little more local flavor, Think cool rooftop bars in Jakarta with stunning city views. Maybe some live music spots playing Indonesian tunes.
Local tunes. Is that code for karaoke that goes on until 3 a.m.? Because I've experienced that. And my ears are still recovering. But yeah, Jakarta rooftops can be pretty slick. Good for pretending you're in a movie while sipping a fancy drink.
Oh, come on. Karaoke can be fun. Especially if you've got a good group and maybe a little bit of liquid courage. But you're right. Jakarta's got that sophisticated vibe going on. And Bali, of course, is famous for its beach clubs. Wow.
Bali beach clubs, where you pay a fortune to listen to DJs you've never heard of and watch people take selfies. Ooh, don't get me wrong. They're visually impressive, like adult playgrounds for Instagram addicts.
Yeah, you're such a tease. But they are fun. Imagine dancing with your toes in the sand, sunset colors painting the sky. It's magical. Plus, Bali also has some cool, more laid-back bars and places like Seminyak and Keng.
Seminyak and Kane, yeah, those are where the hipsters congregate. Lots of smoothie bowls during the day, craft cocktails at night. Still pricey, but maybe slightly less overtly look at me than the big beach clubs.
Exactly. It's got variety, Leo. And don't forget about Yajikat and Jubid. Yagi has got a more cultural scene. Maybe some traditional dance performances you can catch in the evening. Wow.
Ah yes, cultural performances. The kind where you sit politely and try to figure out what's going on while secretly wondering if there's a bar nearby. Just kidding mostly. They can be interesting, I admit.
Saying they're interesting. They're a window into Indonesian culture. And Ubud. Well, Ubud is more about chilled vibes and maybe some ecstatic dance, or sound healing kind of evenings. Definitely not your typical wild party scene.
Ecstatic dance. Sounds like my worst nightmare. But hey, each to their own. If you want to sway rhythmically in a dimly lit room while contemplating your chakras, Ubud's got you covered.
You're learning to appreciate the diversity, Leo. Now, let's flip the coin to Thailand. Thailand is like, beer, nightlife explosion, whoa.
BAM. Precisely. Thailand doesn't whisper nightlife, it shouts it from the rooftops, probably with fireworks and a laser show. It's like they took entertainment, dialed it up to 11.
Think Bangkok, think neon lights, bustling street markets that stay open late, rooftop bars galore on Khao San Road. Oh my goodness, Khao San Road is an experience in itself.
Khao San Road, where you can buy a bucket of questionable alcohol, get a fish pedicure, and haggle for a fake Rolex, all in the same 5-minute walk. It's chaotic, intensely chaotic, but undeniably energetic.
Chaotic but fun chaos. And then you have Sakhu Meft. So many bars, clubs, restaurant food. It's like a never-ending party strip. Wow.
Sakhu Meth, the land of endless options. From swanky cocktail lounges to, shall we say, less swanky establishments. Something for every taste in the Yim budget. Just keep your wits about you.
But Thailand really does cater to every taste, doesn't it? If you want posh, they've got it. If you want gritty and down to earth, they've got that too. And Phuket and Pattaya. Those are party central beach destinations. Boo!
So, I think you've written proper that. Phuket and Pattaya, where the beaches are almost secondary to the nightlife. Think massive clubs, ladyboy cabarets, Muay Thai fights, it's a full-on sensory overload. And maybe a slight dent in your wallet.
Ladyboy cabarets are amazing shows, though. So much glitter and glam and talent. And Muay Thai fights are so intense. It's like watching a real-life action movie. Wow.
Intense is the word, Mir. Definitely not for the faint of heart. But yeah, the shows are spectacular, I'll give you that. Thailand definitely knows how to put on a performance, whether it's in ring.
And let's not forget the islands. Koh Phangan's full moon party. That's like a legendary nightlife event. People come from all over the world for that. Whoa!
The full moon party, where thousands of people gather on a beach, slather themselves in neon paint, and dance until sunrise. Sounds messy, and probably involves a lot of sand in places where it shouldn't be. But hey, it's an experience, right?
It's a huge experience. And if full moon parties aren't your thing, the Thai islands have tons of chilled out beach bars too. You can always find a spot to relax with a cocktail and watch the stars.
True. Thailand does have that chill side too. It's not all about buckets and neon paint. You can find quieter bars, especially on the smaller islands, where you can actually hear the waves over the music. Imagine that.
So if you're watching this on YouTube and you've experienced the nightlife in Indonesia or Thailand, tell us in the comments, which vibe do you prefer? The Indonesian hidden gem or the Thai nightlife explosion?
Yeah, spill the beans. Or the buckets, in Thailand's case. And if you're planning a trip and want to know more about either country, Jet Alfei, I is your friend. We've got articles, podcasts, the whole shebang.
Jaffe I is your travel guru. So, whether you're craving a cultural evening in Indonesia or a wild night out in Thailand, both countries have something amazing to offer after dark. Ooh,
Just remember to pace yourselves, folks. Especially in Thailand. Those buckets can be deceptively potent. Oops. And maybe pack some earplugs for the karaoke in Indonesia.
Leo, you're impossible. It's good advice. Ultimately, it depends what kind of night you're after, right? Indonesia for a more culturally infused, maybe sophisticated evening. And Thailand for all out. Anything goes fun.
Nailed it, Mira. Indonesia for the refined explorer, Thailand for the let's just say enthusiastic partygoer. Now, what's next on our list? Because I suddenly feel like I need a coffee after all that talk of buckets and neon paint.
Oh. And for our listeners, stick around. We've got even more country comparisons coming up, right here at Gen Off AI. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this. Ooh. Our current topic, we compare family-friendly environments and children's activities into countries. From welcoming parks to
Endless screaming toddlers. Into skidding Mira mostly. But seriously, when we talk family-friendly, it's not just about surviving the trip with the little ones, right? It's about actually enjoying it as a family, not just enduring it.
Oh, and Indonesia and Thailand, both being these tropical paradises, promise sunshine and smiles for everyone, big and small. Big beaches, elephants, maybe even a monkey stealing your ice cream. What's not to love for kids?
Monkeys stealing ice cream sounds like my kind of family fun. Free entertainment, right? But let's get real, Mira. Indonesia, massive archipelago, Thailand, kingdom of smiles. Are they really roll out the welcome app for families friendly? Or is it more like nice beaches, good luck with the cast?
Come on, Leo. You're such a cynic. Think of Bali in Indonesia for starters. Wow. Kids absolutely adore beaches, buildings and castles splashing in the waves. And the Balinese culture is so warm and welcoming, they practically invented the kid-friendly vibe. Oh.
Bali, yeah. Postcard perfect beaches, sure. But warm and welcoming can also mean intense humidity unsweating buckets while chasing after a sugar-crazed kid. Plus, let's not forget the legendary Bali Belly. Family vacation souvenir, anyone?
Okay. Bali Belly is a thing, I admit. But think beyond the beaches, Leo. Indonesia has amazing wildlife parks. Jungle treks, okay, maybe jungle treks are for slightly older kids. But think about places like Taman Safari. Well, animals go. Doctor do safaris. It's like Jurassic Park, but with less dinosaur attacks and more giraffes wanting carrots.
Taman Safari sounds like a zoo in disguise, Mira. I mean, Dr. Safaris are cool until your kid decides to open the window for a closer look at a rhino's horn. Ouch! Thailand's got safaris too, by the way. And elephants, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting an ethical elephant sanctuary in Thailand.
Ethical elephant sanctuaries. Yes. Thailand wins major points there. Oh, imagine your kids interacting with these gentle giants, feeding them bananas, maybe even bathing them. Talk about a memory that'll last a lifetime. Wow. Forget Disneyland. Give me an elephant shower any day.
Elephant showers are great until you realize you're covered in elephant snot and mud. And then you have to figure out how to explain to customs why your passport smells like a zoo. But alright, Thailand does have a certain elephant charm. And Bangkok. Mira, Bangkok. Crazy city, but kids are strangely fascinated by tuk-tuks.
It's like an amusement park. Crime built into your commute. And think of the floating markets in Thailand. Whoa. Boats piled high with fruits, toys, all sorts of colorful things. It's a sensory overload in the best possible way for kids. Forget boring supermarkets. Give me a floating market any day.
Floating markets. Picturesque until your toddler decides to lean on the edge for a closer look at the fishies. Oops. Or worse, decides to help row the boat with his sippy cup. But I give you that, they are pretty visually stimulating. Indonesia has markets too, though maybe not as many floating ones.
True. Maybe less floating markets. In Indonesia has incredible temples. Barabasan, Piramban Anake, maybe temples aren't exactly what screams kid-friendly. But think of the stories. Ancient history. Mysteries. Indiana Jones vibes. Aha! Turn it into an adventure, Leo.
Indiana Jones vibes in 40-degree heat with a whining child who just wants ice cream. Temples are impressive, I'll give you that. But toddler attention span and ancient history aren't exactly best buddies. Thailand has temples too. Sparkly ones, maybe slightly more visually engaging for the under 10s.
Thailand knows how to do blind, even for temples. And what about Thai cooking classes for families? Ooh, kids love playing with food, and learning to make pad thai or spring rolls together could be super fun. Plus, you get to eat your creations afterwards. Win-win. Win-win. Wow.
Cooking classes with kids sounds like a recipe for disaster. Oops, more like flour bombing class. But okay, I see your point. Thailand is definitely leaning into the tourist-friendly, kid-entertaining angle. Indonesia may be a bit more rough around the edges family adventure.
Rough around the edges adventure. I love it. Leo. Indonesia is for the adventurous family, maybe with slightly older kids, who are ready for a bit more authentic experience. Wow. Think hiking volcanoes. Whoa. Think hiking volcanoes. Double whoa. Okay? Maybe not for toddlers, but for families with a bit of daredevil spirit.
Komodo dragons, yeah. Nothing says family bonding like potentially being eaten by a giant lizard. Volcano hiking great, if you want to tarry tiled up a mountain while battling altitude sickness. Ouch! Indonesia is definitely memorable. Maybe too memorable for some families.
Maybe Komodo dragons are a tad extreme for family fun. But Indonesia has amazing beaches and Lombok and Raya Amp. Less crowded than Bali and just as beautiful. Think snorkeling, diving, exploring coral reefs, underwater adventures for the whole family.
Snorkeling and diving are fantastic if your kids are old enough to not swallow half the ocean. Oops, and less crowded than Bali still means crowded. Let's be honest, both Indonesia and Thailand are popular destinations. Finding truly uncrowded family spots, that's like finding a unicorn riding a tuk-tuk.
Unicorn tuk-tuks. Now that's something I want to see. But seriously, Leo, even with crowds, our countries offer so much for families. Think about the value for money. Accommodation, food, activities generally more affordable than, say, Europe or North America. Family vacation without breaking the bank.
Affordable, yes. But cheap can also mean questionable safety standards on food hygiene roulette. Just saying. You get what you pay for money is just a fancy way of saying you're taking a risk.
Oh, Leo. Always the pessimist. But okay. Safety and hygiene are important points. Definitely do your research. Choose reputable operators. Choose reputable tour operators. And maybe pack a whole suitcase of hand sanitizer. But overall, I think both Indonesia and Thailand offer incredible family experiences, just in slightly different flavors.
Different flavors. I like that, Mira. Indonesia, maybe spicier, more adventurous flavor. Thailand, sweeter, more tourist-friendly flavor. Depends on your family's taste, I guess. And tolerance for humidity crowds. And questionable street food.
And for more family travel tips and destination ideas, don't forget to check out Jitofe. We've got articles, podcasts, maybe even a guide on surviving a Komodo dragon encounter with kids. Just kidding mostly.
Surviving a Komodo dragon encounter with kids, now that's content gold. And if you enjoyed our family-friendly chat, give us a like on YouTube and subscribe. Maybe we'll even do a live podcast from a floating market if we can keep Mira from falling in.
I'm not that clumsy. Oops. Did I just trip over the microphone cable? Anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. And happy family travels wherever you choose to go. Oh, Leo. Let's chat about something super colorful, the LGBT scene. But this time comparing Indonesia and Thailand. Think rainbows, parades, and maybe a few unexpected twists. Ooh.
Rainbows and twists, you say? Sounds like my kind of travel brochure, Mira. Indonesia versus Thailand in the LGBT friendliness arena. Let's see if it's more Muay Thai kick or gentle Balinese massage for the community.
So, Thailand is famous for being super welcoming, right? Like everyone thinks Thailand and they picture amazing trans beauty pageants and vibrant gay life. Wow, it's got that rep for being a total paradise.
Paradise, yes, but maybe with a price of admission vibe, Mira. Thailand does have that visible LGBT culturists. But dig a little deeper and it's not all sunshine and rainbows, despite the surface glare.
Oh, a plot twist already? Tell me more, Mr. Detective. Whoa, is it like a tourist trap of tolerance? Are the locals secretly rolling their eyes at all the fabulousness?
Not exactly eye-rolling, but more like selectively tolerant. Thailand hasn't actually legalized same-sex marriage yet, despite all the buzz. And legally, gender recognition is still a bit of a bureaucratic dance.
No same-sex marriage in the land of smiles? That's like serving pad thai without noodles. Oops. It just doesn't compute. So all those romantic beach weddings are just for show?
Essentially, Mira, more like symbolic ceremonies than legally binding unions. It's a bit like a stand-up comedian doing my visually entertaining, but lacking actual substance.
Calling me slightly surprised. But what about Indonesia? I hear it's a bit different. Like maybe more shadowy alleys than glittery parades.
Shadowy alleys is a bit dramatic, Mira, even for my taste. Indonesia, being the world's largest Muslim majority nation, definitely has a more conservative social climate. Public displays of affection, regardless of orientation, are generally frowned upon.
Like T.S. T.S. T.S.K. Tostikas. T.S.K.T. I can handle. But police escorts on date night? Not so much.
More TSKDSK in tourist areas, but in some regions, especially those with stricter interpretations of Islamic law, things can get trickier. There are nationwide laws criminalizing homosexuality, but local regulations can be, well, let's say less than celebratory.
So, no pride parades in Jakarta then? More like Haider Pride in Jakarta? More like Haider Pride in Jakarta? That's a bit of a downer.
Pride events are definitely not a common sight, Mira. Aha! Public gatherings of LGBT groups can face opposition and even disruption. It's more of an underground scene, if you will.
Underground LGBT scene. Sounds like a spy movie. Whoa, are there secret rainbow flag handshakes and coded messages in Indonesian? Maybe we should do a podcast special on undercover LGBT life.
Hold your horses, Ira Mira. It's not quite spy-level intrigue, but yes, the community often operates more discreetly. They build networks and communities online and in private spaces, rather than through large public events.
Thailand is like the openly flamboyant friend, who hasn't quite come out to their parents legally. And Indonesia is the cool, secretive friend with a hidden online life. That's a mental picture.
Pretty much, Mira. Thailand presents a welcoming facade, especially to tourists, but legal rights lag behind the image. Indonesia, on the other hand, is more conservative overall, with LGBT life being much present in certain circles.
Our LGBT travelers, Thailand is probably easier for a fun vacation, but maybe not for long-term living in Indonesia. Well, maybe bring your best camouflage and online dating skills.
Camouflage is optional, Mira, but discretion is definitely advised in Indonesia. And for Thailand, enjoy the party vibes, but remember to read the fine print on the legal status.
Fine print on fabulousness noted. So, if you're looking for legal guarantees and pride parades, maybe Spain is still winning. But If you want a fascinating cultural contrast with varying levels of LGBT visibility, Indonesia and Thailand offer a very interesting comparison.
Precisely, Mira. It's not a simple paradise versus purgatory situation. Both countries have complex realities for their LGBT communities, hidden beneath different layers of social and legal landscapes. And maybe that's a topic for another podcast deep dive.
Podcast deep dive into undercover rainbows? But for now, folks, remember to do your research and respect local customs wherever you travel, whether it's to the beaches of Thailand or the bustling streets of Indonesia. And maybe pack a sense of humor, just in case you spill coffee on yourself like I did this morning.
And maybe pack a lawyer just in case you decide to get symbolically married in Thailand. Just kidding mostly. But seriously, folks, stay informed, stay safe, and keep exploring. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this rainbow-tinted comparison.
Alright, Leo. Let's chat about something super important when you're thinking of visiting or moving somewhere new. How are the locals, you know? Are they gonna welcome you with open arms? Or side-eye you from across the street?
Hospitality and attitudes towards foreigners, Mira. Sounds like we're about to dive into the deep end of the are they nice or not pool. I'm ready to judge, observe keenly.
First up, Indonesia. From my experience, Indonesians are like naturally gifted hosts. It's like they have a built-in welcome mat in their DNA.
Indonesia, huh? Land of a million islands and even more smiles, or so they say. Let's see if it's all sunshine and rainbows, or if there's a bit of tourist tax hidden in those smiles.
No tourist tax in the smiles, Leo. Seriously, everywhere I went, from bustling Jakarta to tiny villages in Bali, people were just genuinely warm and curious. They'd ask where I'm from, what I think of their country, and then offer you food. Food is the ultimate welcome sign, right?
Feed is a weapon of mass welcomeness. I like it. Okay, you'll give you that. Indonesians are generally pretty friendly. But let's be real, sometimes that friendliness cranks up. I may realize you're a tourist with, shall we say, potential spending power. Just saying.
Oh, come on, Leo. You're such a cynic. I think it's more than just the spending power. They're genuinely curious about different cultures. I remember once in Jakarta, I was totally lost, and this grandma, who barely spoke English, walked me like 5 blocks to make sure I found my way. Wow.
A grandma escort service? Okay, that's kinda sweet. But you gotta admit, in super touristy spots, sometimes that warmth feels a little rehearsed, like they've seen the tourist playbook. It's business-friendly hospitality, but different.
Maybe a little bit in the super touristy zones, sure. But even then, it's still polite and helpful, right? And if you wander off the beaten path, it's like BAM. Authentic Indonesian warmth hits you full force. Remember that homestay in Lombok? The family treated us like long-lost relatives. Ooh.
Lombok homestay, okay. Point taken. Off the tourist trail, Indonesia definitely shines in the genuine hospitality department. Less of the smile for the camera vibe, more of the come join our family dinner feel.
And it's not just about big gestures, it's the little things. Like, if you look even slightly confused, someone will pop up to help without even being asked. It's like they have a sixth sense for tourist confusion.
Sixth sense for tourist confusion, I'm adding that to my stand-up routine. But alright. Indonesia gets a solid A for hospitality, especially if you venture beyond the usual postcard spots. Now, Thailand, the land of smiles. Let's switch gears.
The land where smiles are practically currency. Seriously, it's like everyone there has taken a masterclass in smiling. It's infectious.
Land of smiles cliché alert. But okay, let's unpack this smile currency. Are Thai smiles genuine, Mira, or are they professionally applied?
I think it's a mix, Leo, honestly. Like, yeah, some of those tourist industry smiles are definitely part of the job. But underneath, there's a real cultural emphasis on being polite and friendly. It's ingrained in them, wow.
Polite and friendly is definitely on the menu in Thailand. They're masters of customer service, no doubt. But sometimes it feels a bit surface level, you know. Like they're being nice because that's what you expect, not because they're actually interested in chatting about your life story.
Shoo. It can feel a bit more formal sometimes, especially in Bangkok or Phuket. But I found that if you show genuine interest in Thai culture, or try to speak a little Thai even if you butcher it, the smiles get warmer and more real.
Butchering Thai to unlock genuine smiles sounds like a challenge I am willing to accept. And yeah, making an effort with the language always goes a long way anywhere, right? It shows you're not just another tourist expecting everyone to speak English.
And Thai people are incredibly patient and forgiving if you mangle their language. They appreciate the effort so much. Plus, they're always ready to help you out. I once left my phone in a taxi in Bangkok, and the hotel staff went full detective mode to get it back for me.
Phone rescue squad. Impressive. Okay, Thailand definitely scores high on helpfulness too. And yeah, they're generally very tolerant and easygoing with tourists. They've been doing the tourism thing for a while. They've kind of perfected the art of welcoming and managing hordes of visitors.
Managing hordes of visitors, you make it sound like fairs at keepers, Leo. But I get what you mean. They are very professional. But I think there's a real kindness there too. Maybe not as outwardly huggy as Indonesians, but definitely a gentle and respectful hospitality. Ah,
Gentle and respectful hospitality, that's a good way to put it. Thailand is like the polite, well-mannered host who makes sure your drink is always topped up and your napkin is neatly folded, even if they're not necessarily cracking jokes with you all night.
so if you want super warm, almost family-like vibes, maybe Indonesia wins. But if you appreciate super polite, efficient, and still genuinely welcoming hospitality, Thailand is top-notch. Both are amazing in their own way, right?
Agreed, Mira. It's like comparing a hug from your grandma, hug from a butler. Both are nice, just different flavors of welcome. Ultimately, both Indonesia and Thailand are pretty darn hospitable to foreigners. You're more likely to be overwhelmed with kindness than side-eyed in either place.
Don't think they said, Leo? So, listeners, pack your bags for either Indonesia or Thailand, and prepare to be welcomed. Just maybe bring a phrase book into healthy appetite for delicious food. Alright, Leo, buckle up, because we're diving into the digital world today. We're talking internet infrastructure and digital facilities in Indonesia and Thailand. Think of it as comparing to giant tech playgrounds, but with slightly different slides and swings, you know?
Tech playgrounds, Mira? Is that how you see it? I picture more like digital obstacle courses sometimes, especially when my Wi-Fi decides to go on vacation. But alright, Indonesia versus Thailand on the digital front. Let's see which one trips over the cables less.
First off, let's talk connectivity. Indonesia. Being a massive archipelago, I imagine getting everyone online is like trying to connect a million tiny islands with really long Ethernet cables. Whoa, sounds like a logistical puzzle even for an ASA.
NASA with Ethernet cables, I love it. You're not wrong about the archipelago thing. Indonesia is huge and spread out. Think of it like trying to deliver pizza to every single apartment in New York City, except those apartments are scattered across thousands of islands. Good luck. Pizza guy, I mean. Internet provider.
Pizza delivery by drone might be easier. But seriously, Thailand, on the other hand, it's more compact, right? Like a digital efficiency apartment compared to Indonesia's sprawling digital mansion. Does that mean they have an easier time getting fast internet to more people?
Compact apartment versus sprawling mansion, not bad. Thailand definitely has an advantage in terms of density. Easier to run fiber when you're not crossing miles of ocean. Think of it like this: Thailand is like a well-organized spice rack. Everything in its place, well, like a spice rack. Lots of spices, but finding the one you need might take a while.
I can already picture the Wi-Fi rouges hanging from the stalls. But beyond just getting to people, what about the speed? Are we talking dial-up speeds in some parts? Or are these countries zooming into the 21st century with lightning-fast connections?
Zooming might be a bit optimistic in some corners. Let's be real, both Indonesia and Thailand are still playing catch-up in the global speed race. You're not going to be downloading a terabyte movie in 5 seconds, unless you're in a very specific, very well-equipped part of a major city. Think of it as more like a leisurely digital stroll than a digital sprint for most people.
Hey leisurely digital stroll. Perfect for browsing cat videos and maybe less perfect for, running a global tech company from your beachside hut. Oops. But are they at least getting better? Are they building more fiber, rolling out 5G? All that good stuff? Tell me there's hope for faster cat videos.
Hope springs eternal, Mira, even in the digital realm. Both countries are definitely investing in infrastructure upgrades. Thailand's been pushing its Thailand 4.0 initiative, and Indonesia has got its own digital economy ambitions. Fiber rollout is happening, 5G is inching its way in, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. Think of it as they're upgrading from bicycles to scooters, but still dreaming of sports cars.
Scooters as Wi-Fi boosters. I love it. So it's not all sunshine and digital rainbows yet, but they're moving in the right direction. What about the digital divide, though? Are we seeing big differences between the cities and the countryside in both places?
The digital divide, the classic tale of the internets. Big cities, you've got your cafes with decent Wi-Fi, your co-working spaces, your generally okay connectivity. Venture outside the urban centers, and things get patchy IR. Rural areas, especially in Indonesia's islands, can be seriously underserved. Think of it like digital oases in a vast desert.
Digital oases makes you appreciate that cafe Wi-Fi even more, doesn't it? So, for someone planning to, say, live and work remotely in either Indonesia or Thailand, what should they expect? Should they pack extra patience in a portable satellite dish?
Portable satellite dish might be a tad dramatic, Mira, unless you're planning to set up shop in the deepest jungle. For remote work, major cities in both countries are generally manageable, especially if you choose your location wisely and check Wi-Fi speeds beforehand. But yeah, patience is always a good travel companion, digital or otherwise. And maybe a good VPN, just in case.
Digital patience, check. So, it's a both patience check. So, it sounds like both Indonesia and Thailand are works in progress, digitally speaking, but they're definitely on the tech map. And for us YouTube watchers, does this mean we'll see more awesome content coming out of these countries as their internet gets better?
Absolutely, Mira. Better internet means more content creators, more online businesses, more digital innovation all around. Think of it as watering the digital garden. The better the infrastructure, the more digital flowers will bloom. And more flowers means more, shall we say, interesting videos for us to watch on YouTube.
Digital flowers blooming on YouTube. I'm already excited to see what kind of amazing content pops up. And speaking of innovation, what about tech hubs and digital innovation centers? Are Indonesia and Thailand trying to become the next Silicon Valley? Or are they carving out their own digital paths? Well,
Silicon Valley ambitions are everywhere these days, Mira. Everyone wants to be the next tech mecca. Both Indonesia and Thailand are fostering their own startup ecosystems, creating tech hubs, trying to attract investment. Think of it as they're building their own digital sandboxes, hoping to grow digital sandcastles. Whether they become Silicon Valley 2.0 or something uniquely their own, time will tell.
maybe with built-in Wi-Fi and solar panels? And what about digital literacy? Having the infrastructure is one thing, but do people have the skills and knowledge to really use it and benefit from it?
That's the million-dollar question, Mira. Infrastructure is just the first step. Digital literacy, digital skills training, making sure everyone can actually use this technology, that's crucial. Both governments are working on digital literacy programs, but it's a long-term effort. Think of it as giving everyone a smartphone dose and automatically make them a digital genius. You need to teach them how to use it.
True. Giving someone a smartphone and expecting them to code is like giving me a paintbrush and expecting a Monet? Oh, so it sounds like internet infrastructure in Indonesia and Thailand is like a digital adventure in progress. Not always smooth, sometimes a bit bumpy, but definitely getting somewhere exciting. What do you think, Leo?
Digital adventure in progress will take that, Mira. It's not perfect, it's got its challenges, but it's evolving. And for anyone watching this on YouTube, thinking about visiting or moving to either country, do your research on local connectivity. Maybe grab a local SIM card and embrace the digital journey. And hey, if your Wi-Fi cuts out, just go enjoy by find better connections there anywhere.
Spice market connections and digital adventures. Love it, Leo. And if you want to explore more about digital infrastructure, anything else we've talked about today, Head over to Jalf AI. They've got tons of info to fuel your wanderlust and your digital curiosity. Alright, Leo. Speaking of spending money, or rather, getting the most bang for your buck, let's dive into shopping. Indonesia versus Thailand in the arena of retail therapy. Who do you think wins the Best Deals Olympics?
Best Deals Olympics. Mira, that's brilliant. Best Deals Olympics. I can just picture shoppers wrestling each other for the last discount that's around. But seriously, when it comes to shopping, it's like a global showdown, isn't it? Indonesia and Thailand are definitely heavyweight contenders in the price-performance category.
Oh, absolutely. Think about Indonesia. You can wander through these incredible traditional markets, right? Like Pasar Barang Harjo in Yogyakarta. It's a total sensory overload in the best way. And the prices, whoa, you can haggle for everything. It feels like you're actually earning money by shopping there. Ugh.
Haggling, the ancient art of getting a good deal. In Thailand, it's like entering a friendly duel with a vendor. Chatuchak Weekend Market in Bangkok is legendary for this. You can find everything from vintage sunglasses to a live chicken, probably. And yes, the price performance is insane. You can redecorate your entire apartment for the price of a fancy dinner back home. Wow!
You might have just won that round, Leo. But Indonesia also has these amazing modern malls popping up everywhere. Especially in Jakarta and Surabaya. They're super fancy, air-conditioned havens after a hot day of market bargaining. And even in those malls, you can often find surprisingly good deals compared to Western prices.
True, Thailand's got the mall game strong too. Think Siam Paragon, Icontian. They're like temples of consumerism. But even amidst all that luxury, you can still find affordable Thai brands and local designer stuff that's way cheaper and cooler than what you'd find in, say, Paris. It's this amazing mix of high-end and high value.
And in Indonesia, the craftsmanship is incredible. Think batik, wood carvings, silver jewelry. You're not just buying stuff, you're getting pieces of art, often directly from the people who made them. That adds a whole different level of performance to the price, doesn't it? It's like supporting local artisans while getting a beautiful souvenir. Ugh.
Totally agree. Thailand's got its own craft scene too, of course. Silk, ceramics, amazing textiles from the North. Chiang Mai is a treasure trove for that kind of thing. And the night markets, they're not just for food. You can find handcrafted goods in anything you'd find in a chain store. Plus, the atmosphere is electric.
Oh, the night markets. Thailand just nails the night market vibe. But Indonesian markets, especially the food markets, the spices, the fruits you've never even seen before, it's a feast for the senses. And you can grab a delicious meal for, like, $2. Talk about price performance. You get an experience in dinner. Aha!
Food markets are a whole different level of shopping, aren't they? It's like cultural immersion with a side of mango sticky rice. And you're right, in both Indonesia and Thailand, street food is ridiculously affordable and unbelievably delicious. You could literally eat like royalty on a student budget. That's a shopping win in my book. Ah!
If someone's planning a trip and wants to shop till they drop without emptying their bank account, which country would you nudge them towards, Leo? Indonesia or Thailand?
It's a tough call. If you're after super-duper budgeting, hardcore bargaining, Indonesia might edge it lightly. But Thailand offers this incredible mix of everything: budget markets, fancy malls, amazing street food, and luxury goods that are still cheaper than back home. Maybe Thailand for overall shopping versatility, and Indonesia for pure bargain hunting. What do you think?
I like that. Indonesia for the adventurous haggler, Thailand for the shopper who wants a bit of everything, from street steals to mall thrills. Either way, you're guaranteed to go home with a suitcase bursting at the seams in the wallet. That's still reasonably happy.
Reasonably happy wallet, bursting suitcase, that's the tagline for shopping in Southeast Asia. Right there. If you're curious about more travel tips and country comparisons, don't forget to check out Jetofea. They've got tons of info to help you plan your next shopping adventure or whatever adventure you're dreaming of.
Yes. Jet of AI is like your personal travel guru, whispering sweet deals into your ear. And while you're planning your trip, why not give this podcast a like on YouTube? It's free, and it supports our Best Deals Olympics here in the studio. Oh,
Exactly. Like and subscribe. It's cheaper than a souvenir fridge magnet and way more entertaining, hopefully. Right, Mira, what's next on our country comparison shopping list? Or should I say, our topic list? Ugh.
all right, Leo. Let's dive into something super fun now. Festivals, concerts, cultural events. Ooh, imagine the colors, the music, the dancing. We're talking Indonesian Thailand, right? It's got to be a party wherever you go.
Mira, for you, every Tuesday is probably a festival. But yeah, let's see if Indonesian Thailand can actually bring the party or if it's just, nice temples and quiet beaches.
Oh, come on. Temples and beaches are just the warm-up packs. Leo, think about Indonesia. They have so many islands. Each probably has its own unique festival. Wow. Like, imagine Bali's NYEPO, the Day of Silence. Can you imagine a whole day of silence? For you, Leo, that would be torture.
Torture? Maybe for you Loudmithus. Actually, a day of silence sounds almost appealing. But okay, NYEPI in Bali, yeah, that's a big one. Thailand has Songkran, the water festival. Now that sounds like my kind of chaos. Water fights? As long as they use lukewarm water, and not getting pneumonia for a podcast.
Lukewarm water. Was the fun in that, Mr. Sensible? Songkran. Imagine Leo in a water fight. HEG'd probably be analyzing the water pressure and trajectory instead of just splashing people. But seriously, both countries are bursting with celebrations. Indonesia has all these amazing traditional dances and music festivals, right?
Yeah, Indonesia's got a lot of cultural depth there. Wayang Kulit, the shadow puppet shows, those are ancient and still going strong. And Gamal on music. It's like hypnotic in a good way. Not like you're singing, Mira. Thailand's got Kamas dance and Muay Thai festivals, which, okay, I admit, are pretty intense. Whoa.
But yes, Wayang Kulit. But yes, Wayang Kulit. Imagine telling stories with puppets and shadows. It's like ancient cinema. And Taikon dance. Those masks are incredible. It's like stepping into a living legend book. Wow. We should totally check out Egypt for some clips later. Listeners, if you're not already doing it.
YouTube, yeah. Great idea. Jet Off AI probably has articles on this stuff too, right? Practical info for anyone planning a trip for a festival. Because let's be real, just showing up at a festival in Indonesia or Thailand without knowing anything could be interesting. Or, a disaster.
Disaster for you, adventure for me. But yes, Jet Off AI is the place to go for all the details. And for concerts, what about modern music scenes? Thailand has a huge pop scene, right? T-pop? Is that what they call it?
T-pop, yeah. Lots of K-pop influence there, visually at least. Thailand also has a pretty strong rock and indie scene. Indonesia, they've got Dang DUT, which is an experience. Let's just say it's energetic.
I like energetic. Maybe Dang DUT is like the caffeine shot of music. And Indonesia has a huge metal scene too, I heard. Metal bands playing in Jakarta. That's awesome. Whoa, talk about cultural diversity.
Metal in Jakarta, yeah, okay. That's unexpected, but Southeast Asia always has surprises up its sleeve. And don't forget, both countries have international music festivals now and then, bringing in big names. Less culturally specific, but still, concerts are concerts.
Something for everyone. From ancient shadow puppets to headbanging metal. Ah, and for the foodies, Leo. Think of the street food at these festivals. Imagine all the amazing smells and tastes. Pad Thai and nasi goreng in Indonesia festival food heaven.
Okay, you got me there. Street food at festivals tempting. As long as it's hygienically questionable enough to keep things interesting. But seriously, Whether you're into ancient traditions or modern music, Indonesia and Thailand seem to have you covered for cultural events. Just maybe pack earplugs.
Earplugs for you, dancing shoes for me. Imagine us, Leo, at a Thai music festival. You with your earplugs, me dancing like crazy. We'd be the perfect odd couple. But your listeners, tell us in the comments, have you been to any cool festivals in Indonesia or Thailand? We want to hear about it. We want to hear about it?
Yeah, drop a comment on YouTube. Tell us about your festival adventures or misadventures. Those are always funnier. And maybe check out JetOff AI for travel tips before you book your flight to anywhere. Really? Okay, Mirror. What's next? Are we talking spicy food now? Because festivals made me hungry.
Our next stop on our world tour of comparisons is a super fun one-language learning. It's like unlocking a secret level in a video game. But instead of coins, you get to understand what people are actually saying about you.
Oh, language learning, the ultimate test of whether your brain is still functioning or has decided to retire early to a beach in Bali. Let's see if Indonesia or Thailand offers a less brain-melting experience.
Indonesia. With Bahasa Indonesia, sounds so musical, doesn't it? It's like they're always singing, even when they're just asking for directions. Oh, and the best part? No tones. Imagine, Leo, no tones. You can accidentally ask for dog when you meant delicious dessert.
No tones in Indonesian, Mira? That's suspiciously easy. Sounds like they're luring tourists into a false sense of linguistic security. Thailand, on the other hand, with Thai, throws toes at you like ninja stars. Miss one, and you might be complimenting someone's pet buffalo instead of their beautiful smile.
But think of all the language schools in Indonesia. From Bali to Jakarta. They're everywhere, promising to turn you into a Bahasa within weeks. It's like a language learning buffet. Twah! Everyone's so friendly and patient. They'll cheer you on even if you butcher every single word.
Furthentally Kankankana. Friendly and patient, Mira? You're just politely confused? I've seen those language schools in tourist hotspots. They often seem more focused on selling you a bintang beer afterwards than actually teaching you grammar. But hey, at least the beer's good in Indonesia.
Okay, point taken on the beer. But seriously, Bahasa is supposed to be relatively straightforward grammatically, right? Like, sentence structure is pretty chill, and pronunciation isn't too crazy. It's like the easy mode of Asian languages. Oh.
Easy mode, she says. Famous last words before someone tries to conjugate an Indonesian verb and ends up in a grammatical black hole. Whoa, but yes, comparatively, Indonesian grammar is less likely to make your head explode than, say, Thai grammar, which, well, let's just say Thai grammar and I have a complicated relationship. Ouch.
And think about resources online for Indonesian. YouTube channels, apps, websites, it's like a digital jungle of learning materials. You could practically learn Bahasa in your pajamas without even leaving your couch. Well, maybe we should create a JetOff AI Bahasa course.
A JetOff AI Bahasa course featuring you in pajamas, Mira? Now that's a marketing strategy, but yeah, online resources are abundant for Indonesian. For Thai, they're out there too, but finding quality, user-friendly stuff can feel like searching for a hidden temple in Chiang Mai. It exists, but takes some serious digging.
And think about immersion. Imagine learning Bahasa while surrounded by stunning beaches, delicious nasi goreng, and orangutans. Learning can be an adventure in Indonesia. It's like study a bit, surf a bit, repeat.
Surf a bit, study a bit sounds suspiciously like a vacation disguised as language learning, Mira. But I admit, Indonesia has the cool factor when it comes to immersion. Thailand's got its temples and bustling markets, but Indonesia has got that exotic island vibe like that's hard to beat.
For opportunities indeed. It sounds like Indonesia might have a slight edge, right? relatively easy in language, tons of resources. And who wouldn't want to learn while sipping coconut water on a beach? Ooh.
Slight edge, maybe. But ease is relative, Mira. Learning any new language still requires effort, even if it's Indonesian. And Thailand, while being grammatically enthusiastic, also has a certain charm. Plus, mastering Thai domes? That's bragging rights material right there. Whoa!
True. Bragging rights are important. But for someone just starting out, wanting a less intimidating experience, Indonesia seems like a pretty awesome option. And we can always feature some amazing language schools on Jet Fai, right? Aha.
Absolutely, Mira. Jetofe, your dodo for comparing countries and apparently judging the relative CH peerage learning experiences. So, Indonesia for easy breezy Bahasa, and Thailand for tonal tango Thai. Sounds like a podcast title in the making. Let's move on to the next topic before I start trying to conjugate verbs in either language and embarrass myself further.
Buckle up. Listeners, because we're diving into a topic that's super important, especially for all our amazing female jetsters out there. We're chatting about feeling safe and comfy as women exploring Indonesia and Thailand. Think of it as your ultimate guide to navigating these gorgeous spots with confidence and maybe a little extra sparkle.
Right, Mira? Because let's be honest, safe and comfy can mean wildly different things depending on where you are and, well, who you are. It's not just about dodging pickpockets. It's about feeling respected, not like you're starring in some awkward travel blooper reel every time you step outside.
So, let's kick things off with Indonesia. Picture stunning beaches, vibrant markets, and so delicious food. But for women travelers, Indonesia is good to know the lay of the land, right? Culturally, Indonesia is predominantly Muslim, and while generally super welcoming, modesty is definitely appreciated. In covering those shown.
Modesty, yes. It's like a universal travel tip, really, unless you want to become a walking tourist attraction. In Indonesia, it's less about strict rules and more about showing respect. Imagine showing up to a tea party in a swimsuit. Technically not illegal, but definitely raising eyebrows. And possibly lowering tea invitations in the future.
And why Indonesia is incredibly friendly. Like, seriously, the smiles are contagious. Oh, Patty, that can be a thing. Especially in crowded spots like markets or tourist hubs. So keep your bags close, your wit sharper, and maybe don't flash your brand new diamond earrings while haggling for boutique. Common sense goes a long way, as always.
Diamond earrings and haggling? Sounds like a recipe for a comedic chase scene straight out of a movie. Mira's right. Basic street smarts are your best accessory anywhere. Indonesia's generally safe, but safe doesn't mean crime-free. It's more like mostly peaceful with occasional torrent-free.
Tourist tax attempts in human form. Love it. Leo. And speaking of humans, let's touch on harassment. Unfortunately, street harassment can happen, like in many places around the world. A polite but firm no. Thank you usually does the trick. And trust your gut feeling, ladies. If the situation feels off, remove yourself faster than you can say nasi goreng. Whoa.
Nasi goreng is definitely faster than remove yourself from this awkward situation, especially if you're hungry. But yeah, street harassment is a global annoyance. In Indonesia, it's not typically aggressive. Think persistent vendors or lingering stares. Bedoin? Yes. Threatening? Always be aware. Never complacent.
Awareness is key. And for getting around in Indonesia, especially at night, taxis or ride-hailing apps are your best friends. They're generally safe and convenient. Plus, you can avoid those, shall we say, scenic route detours some overly enthusiastic drivers might offer. Hehe.
Scenic route detours code for let me show you my cousin's boutique shop and maybe my uncle's and perhaps my brother-in-law's souvenir stand. Ride-hailing apps are a lifesaver, definitely. Plus, they give you a record of your trip, which is always good for peace of mind. It's like having a digital chaperone minus the awkward small talk.
Digital chaperone. Brilliant. Okay, let's hop over to Thailand now. The land of smiles and spicy food. Oh, Thailand is super popular with solo female travelers, and for good reason. It's generally considered very safe, especially in touristy areas. You can wander around bustling night markets, explore ancient temples, and soak up the sun on stunning beaches, often feeling pretty at ease.
Thailand's like the easy mode of Southeast Asian travel, safety-wise. It's built for tourism, and that includes making tourists, especially women, feel relatively secure. Think, well, it's treats, tourist police, and a general vibe of we want you to have a good time and spend money. Please don't get robbed.
And culturally, Thailand is Buddhist, known for its tolerance and chill vibes. While showing respect is always a good idea, the dress code is a tad more relaxed than in Indonesia, especially in beachy areas. Still, when visiting temples, covering up shoulders and knees is a must-do to show respect. Think of it as temple chic. Think of it as temple chic.
Temple chic. I like it. It's like smart casual, but for spiritual enlightenment. Thailand definitely has that laid-back vibe. But again, being tourist-friendly doesn't equal crime-free. Pickpockets and scams exist, especially in crowded tourist traps. Bangkok Skousen Road at 3 a.m. Maybe not the best place for a solo midnight stroll with your wallet hanging out. Just saying, whoa!
3 a.m. is basically choose your own adventure book, and some adventures are less desirable than others. But generally, Thailand feels very safe for walking around, even at night, especially in well-populated areas. Just stick to all its streets and avoid wandering into dark, deserted alleys, you know. Standard big city smarts.
Standard big city smarts. Universal language of don't be an easy target. Unlike Indonesia, Thailand can have its share of street harassment, though it's often more persistent sales pitches than anything truly threatening. Think to drivers who won't take no for an answer, or vendors who see you as a walking ATM. Annoying? Yes. Dangerous? Usually not. But again, trust your gut.
It's like your internal travel bodyguard, and transportation in Thailand is super easy and generally safe. Taxis, tuk-tuks, ride-hailing apps, the BTS, SkyTrain in Bangkok, tons of options. Just agree on a price with tuk-tuks beforehand, unless you fancy a surprise how much. Moment at the end of your ride.
Surprise how much? Moments are a classic travel souvenir, right up there with questionable sunburns and fridge magnets. But yeah, transport nation a breeze in Thailand. Just be aware of tuk-tuk price inflation aimed at tourists. A little haggling never hurts, unless you enjoy the I just paid WH-80 for a 5-minute ride. Ow, story for your friends back home.
Haggling is an art form, Leanne. Art form. And when it comes to safety for women in Thailand, it's also worth mentioning the amazing Thai people. They are generally incredibly kind, helpful, and respectful. If you ever feel uncomfortable or need help, don't hesitate to ask locals for assistance. Their warmth and hospitality are warming. Ooh.
Thai hospitality is legendary, it's true. They're masters of customer service. Even if that customer service sometimes includes trying to sell you 10 elephant pants you absolutely do not need. But genuinely, Thai people are warm and welcoming, and that definitely contributes to the overall feeling of safety and comfort for women travelers.
Elephant pants, the unofficial uniform of Southeast Asia. So, to wrap it up, both Indonesia and Thailand offer incredible experiences for women travelers. Indonesia charms with its cultural richness and natural beauty, while Thailand woos with its seas of travel and vibrant energy. Both are generally safe. Just pack your common sense, your brightest smile, and maybe a stylish scarf or two for those sits.
And maybe some extra cash for those surprise how much? Tuk-tuk moments. But seriously, Mira's right. Both countries are fantastic destinations for women travelers. Just be smart, be aware, And most importantly, be ready for adventure and maybe a few good jokes along the way.
Our current topic, we compare the legal systems, individual rights, and freedoms into countries. From constitutional protections to everyday practices. It's a big topic. Right, Leo? It's like comparing spicy food. Both Indonesia and Thailand have it, but the level of spice and the ingredients are totally different.
You always bring food into everything. But yeah, legal systems not quite as tasty as pad thai, but equally crucial, especially if you don't want to accidentally end up in a Thai or Indonesian jail for ordering the wrong dish. Just kidding mostly. So, Indonesia and Thailand, both beautiful, both popular with tourists, but when it comes to laws and rights, are we talking similar vibes or different universes?
Well, let's start with the constitutions, the rule books of these countries. Indonesia's Pancasila, this philosophical foundation that sounds very grand and unifying, right? Like, belief in the one and only God, just in civilized humanity, and all that. Very inspiring stuff. Well, Thailand, on the other hand, has had like 20 constitutions. It's like they change their national outfit more often than I change my earrings. That's gotta say something about stability. That's stability. Or lack thereof, maybe.
Whoa, 20 constitutions. Thailand's constitution closet must be overflowing. It's like they are constantly redecorating the house but never quite happy with the furniture arrangement. Indonesia with Pancasila sounds more solid, like a bedrock. But constitutions on paper and reality on the streets, sometimes they are the completely different dance routines, aren't they?
Exactly, Leo. Exact having a beautiful recipe book. But when you try to bake the cake, it comes out well, let's just say uniquely shaped. Oops. So, in practice, Indonesia's legal system is a mix of civil law, customary law, and Islamic law in some regions. It's like a buffet of legal flavors. Oh, Thailand is more civil law based, influenced by European systems but with its own Thai twist, of course. Like adding fish sauce to everything, even dessert. Even dessert.
Fish sauce and dessert. Okay, maybe not that extreme, Mira. But I get your point. Thailand's legal system, while based on Western models, definitely has its own local seasoning. And Indonesia, with that blend of laws, sounds like it could get complicated. Imagine trying to navigate that legal buffet as a foreigner. You'd meet a legal tour guide.
You definitely would. And speaking of foreigners, individual rights and freedoms, how do they stack up? Freedom of speech, for example. In theory, but can't as well. Let's just say you might want to think twice before posting a super critical YouTube video about the government in either place. Just a friendly tip from your podcast pals at Jet Off AI. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube, by the way.
Think before you tweet. That's the motto. Or maybe think 10 times before you TIKDOK. Especially if you're planning to visit and want to, actually leave the country again afterwards. Both Indonesia and Thailand have laws about defamation and insulting authority, which can be broadly interpreted. It's like walking a tightrope made of legal jargon. Ouch.
And then there's freedom of assembly and protest. Again, in theory, but in reality, especially if they are seen as critical of the powers that be, can be, shall we say, discouraged in both countries. More like Hyde Park in your corner. Is it? More like Hyde Park in your corner. If you catch my drift.
Hyde Park in your corner. Mira, you're on fire today. That should be a t-shirt. Yeah. Protesting in both Indonesia and Thailand, let's just say it's not a Sunday picnic. You better have your permits in order, and maybe a good lawyer on speed dial, just in case the picnic gets uninvited guests.
Indonesia officially recognizes several religions, but Islam is the majority. Thailand, Buddhism is the big one, very central to national identity. Both are generally tolerant, but sometimes you hear stories, especially about minority religious groups facing some challenges. It's like everyone is invited to the party, but some guests get the slightly less comfy chairs in the corner, you know?
Less comfy chairs in the corner, very diplomatic way to put it, Mir. Religious freedom is a sensitive topic everywhere, and Indonesia and Thailand are no exception. Social harmony, religious tolerance, these are nice ideals, but sometimes the reality is a bit patchy than the brochure suggests. Speaking of brochures, have you seen the one for Jet Off AI?
Always bringing it back to Jet Off AI, Leo. You're a marketing genius in disguise. But seriously, individual rights also include things like gender equality and LGBT rights. Thailand is often seen as more progressive on LGBT issues, right? The land of smiles and, well, let's just say a more visible LGBT community. Indonesia, maybe a bit more conservative in some areas. It's like comparing a rainbow.
A less rainbow, I rainbow. I love it. Thailand, definitely more known for its, shall we say, openness on some gender identity issues. But even there, legal recognition is still evolving. And Indonesia, yeah, social conservatism is a stronger current in many parts of the country. It's a reminder that individual rights and freedoms isn't some fixed checklist. It's a constantly shifting, evolving landscape.
And legal systems, they are not just about constitutions and laws. It's also about enforcement, right? How fair and efficient are the courts? Are police always your friendly neighborhood helpers? Or maybe sometimes not so much? It's like asking, is this street food safe to eat? Sometimes, well, maybe bring some stomach medicine just in case. They got about quite much.
Stomach medicine for legal systems, brilliant Mir. Definitely pack some of that if you're entering into the legal jungles of Indonesia or Thailand. Corruption, sadly, is a factor in both places to varying degrees. In court systems, bureaucracy can be a beast anywhere, but in some countries, it's more of a mythical multi-headed hydra that just keeps growing heads. Getting justice can be a marathon, not a sprint.
A legal hydra. Leo, you are killing me. But it's true, legal processes can be slow, and sometimes, let's be honest, unpredictable in both Indonesia and Thailand. Rule of law. It's a beautiful phrase, but making it a daily reality for everyone, that's the real challenge. It's like saying world peace sounds great, but work in progress.
Work in progress, definitely. And that's the key takeaway, I think. Neither Indonesia nor Thailand are legal paradises or dystopias. They are complex countries with their own unique legal cultures, strengths and weaknesses. For travelers on dexpats, being aware of the legal landscape is crucial. Do your research, be respectful of local laws and customs, and maybe, just maybe, avoid that legal buffet altogether.
Avoid the legal buffet. Best advice ever, Leo. So, in conclusion, legal systems, individual rights, and freedoms in Indonesia and Thailand both have constitutions, both have laws, both have room for improvement, let's say diplomatically. It's a mixed bag like a lucky dip. You might get something amazing or a slightly soggy firework. Oops. Hey, that's life, right?
Slightly soggy firework. Perfectly sums it up, Mir. And legal systems are always a bit of a gamble. Always a bit of common sense, respect, and maybe a good lawyer's number in your phone. You can navigate the legal landscapes of both Indonesia and Thailand without too many explosions, soggy or otherwise. And if you want to explore more about safe travels and smart living, don't forget off AI. We've got you covered legally.
Our current topic, we compare spa, healthy living, and relaxation opportunities into countries. From luxurious spas to holistic wellness practices, it's all about unwinding, right?
Unwinding? Mira, for me, unwinding is when I finally find a coffee shop that makes a decent espresso after a long flight. But spas, yes. I guess people like those too. Let's dive in.
Oh, come on, Leo. Spas are like mini vacations within vacations. Especially in Indonesia. Think Bali is practically spa central. Wow, you can get lost in flower baths and traditional massages. Boom.
Sounds like something out of a shampoo commercial. I'm more of a get in, get out. Feel Sten's kind of guy. But yeah, Bali spas are famous. I hear they throw in everything but the care, the kitchen sink aromatherapy scrubs, chanting monks.
Maybe in the really fancy ones. But honestly, even the simpler places in Indonesia are amazing. They use all these natural ingredients, like coconut oil and spices. It's so refreshing. It's like your skin is on vacation too. Ooh.
My skin is just happy when I remember to put on sunscreen. But Thailand also knows a thing or two about spas, right? Thai massage anyone. Ouch. Sometimes it feels like they're trying to rearrange your bones, but you walk out feeling.
Different in a good way, thankfully. Thai massage can be intense, but it really gets the knots out. And in Thailand, you can find spas everywhere, from super posh resorts to little places on the beach. Variety is the spice of life. And spas. Oh,
Variety is the spice of life, and spice of life, and spice of life, and spices. But yeah, Thailand is spa-tastic too. Bangkok has those incredible rooftop spas with city views. Then you go down south and it's all about beachside bungalows and ocean breezes.
and it's not just about spas. It's about whole healthy living vibe. In Indonesia, they're big on natural remedies and wellness retreats. Think yoga bar rice patties and detox juices made from things you can't even pronounce.
Sound suspiciously like expensive grass clippings to me. But I get it. Wellness is a big thing. Thailand's got the meditation retreats, the Muay Thai fitness camps. Find your inner peace while getting punched in the face.
Punched in the face for wellness? Maybe not my style. I prefer relaxation that's a bit gentler. Indonesia has those incredible beaches, perfect for just being. Hammocks, ocean sounds, a good book. That's my kind of therapy.
My kind of therapy is a strong W if I signal in the quiet corner to write jokes. But beaches. Yeah? Thailand has those too. Plus, you have the temples, the peaceful gardens, those floating markets where you can relax by buying things.
Retail therapy can be relaxing too. Speaking of relaxing, I once tried a fish spa in Indonesia. Those little fish nibbling your feet? Well, it tickled so much, I almost jumped out of the chair and into the fish tank. Oops.
Sour feet below your feet? Sounds like my worst nightmare. They'd rather wrestle a crocodile. But hey, to each their own, right? Some people like fish pedicures, some like getting their bones rearranged. The world is a weird and wonderful place.
Weird and wonderful indeed. So, whether you're after flower baths in Bali or intense Thai massages, both Indonesia and Thailand are definitely top spots for spa, healthy living, and relaxation. It just depends on what kind of unwinding adventure you're after.
Unwinding adventure. Is that even a thing? Is that even a thing? Well, if it involves coffee and maybe a slightly less aggressive massage, I might be in. But for now, let's move on to the next topic before Mira tries to sign me up for a flower bath.
Arcadia, let's gently glide into our next topic, something a little more soul-searching. Opportunities for religious and spiritual needs. Think of it as, where can you find your inner peace? Or at least a really good meditation cushion in Indonesia and Thailand.
Spiritual needs, sounds intense. For me, spirituality usually involves fighting a quiet corner with a strong W if I signal and avoiding all human contact. Is that an option in either of these countries? But all right, Mira, lay it on me. Enlighten me about enlightenment in Indonesian Thailand.
Well, Indonesia, being the world's largest Muslim majority nation, naturally have mosques everywhere, right? Like seriously beautiful mosques. Imagine waking up to the call to prayer, so atmospheric. And it's not just Islam, you know. It's not just Islam, you know? They've got a rich tapestry of religions.
Mosques, got it. Lots of pointy buildings, architecturally fascinating, I'm sure. But Thailand, now that's temple central, isn't it? Gold, glitter, monks in saffron robes, it's like spiritual Disneyland. Though, I suspect the lines for enlightenment are probably just as long as Space Mountain.
Oh, come on, Leo. It's more than just pointy buildings and glitter. Think about the spiritual depth. In Indonesia, you can explore ancient Borobudur, a massive Buddhist temple, or Prambanan, a stunning Hindu temple complex. Talk about history whispering to your soul. Wow. It's a real melting pot of faiths living side by side.
Okay, history whispering I did. But Thailand's got golden temples that practically shout spiritual wisdom at you. And let's not forget the famous side is... isn't getting your chakras aligned by a tiny Thai lady. Much more hands-on than whispering history, you say? Much more hands-on than whispering history, I say.
Hands on spirituality. I like that, Leo. But seriously, Indonesia's religious diversity is incredible. You've got Christian churches, Hindu temples, Buddhist monasteries all coexisting. It's like a real-life lesson in tolerance and harmony. Ooh, imagine the interfaith potlucks.
Interfaith potlucks, now you're talking my language, Mira. Food is my religion. But back to Thailand, they're practically synonymous with Buddhism. You can go on meditation retreats, learn from monks. Find your inner Zen, though. My Zen usually involves pizza.
You and your pizza Zen, Leo. But think about the spiritual retreats in Indonesia, too. Yoga retreats in Bali, meditation centers in Java, and because it's less, shall we say, touristy than some parts of Thailand, you might find a more authentic, less crowded spiritual experience.
Less crowded spirituality? Intriguing. Less chance of self-aistic enlightenment seekers blocking your view. I can see the appeal. Thailand's definitely got the market cornered on spiritual tourism, though, doesn't themselves, or just them, though, doesn't itself? Or doesn't it find themselves, or just a cheap Chang beer?
Oh, Leo, you're terrible. But you're right. Thailand is a huge draw for spiritual tourism. But that also means it's super accessible. Lots of English-speaking monks and retreats catering to international visitors. Easy peasy spiritual squeezy. Oh.
Easy peasy spiritual squeezy, and going to trademark that. But yeah, Thailand is user-friendly spirituality. Indonesia, with its less packaged approach, might be more for the intrepid soul searcher. Yeah, I want to find myself, but also maybe get slightly lost type.
And Indonesia. You can explore unique spiritual traditions you might not find elsewhere. Mystical Javanese Kejol and beliefs. Balinese Hinduism with its vibrant ceremonies, it's like stepping into a different spiritual dimension. Wow.
Different spiritual dimension sounds like a good sci-fi movie title. But seriously, both countries offer a buffet of spiritual options, don't they? Indonesia with its diverse, sometimes less trodden path, and Thailand with its well-worn but undeniably beautiful Buddhist trail.
So, if you're looking to feed your soul, whether you're after the quiet contemplation of a Thai temple with a vibrant diversity of Indonesian religious life, you've got options. It's all about finding what resonates with your own spiritual vibe. Is that too woo for you, Leo? Hee.
My spiritual vibe is currently resonating with the need for more coffee, Mira. But no, not too woo. I get it. Indonesia and Thailand spiritually diverse, aesthetically pleasing, and probably both have decent coffee near the temples and mosques. Win-win, really? Shall we move on to something slightly less ethereal now? Maybe something involving food?
Our current topic, we compare social equality, respect for minorities, and diversity into countries. From inclusive policies to everyday street vibes. It's a real mixed bag, isn't it? Like trying to decide what to eat from a street food stall in Jakarta Bank.
Yeah, Social equality and diversity sounds like a pageant slogan, doesn't it? World peace, one country comparison at a time. But seriously, when you look at Indonesia and Thailand, you're diving into places that are like, hold my diverse drink. Both are melting pots, but with different spices, if you catch my drift.
Spices, for sure. Indonesia, I mean, wow. Thousands of islands, hundreds of ethnic groups, religions galore. It's like someone threw all the world's cultures into a blender and said, blend until vibrant said. Blend until vibrant said. Blend and you wonder, does everyone get blended equally? That's the million-dollar question, right?
Exactly. Indonesia, bless its archipelago heart, is officially all about unity in diversity. Sounds great on paper, like my stand-up routine sounds great in my head before I get on stage. But then you dig a little deeper, and you see there are definitely some groups feeling more united than others.
Right? You've got Java, which is like the cool kid at the school cafeteria, gets all the attention. And then you have other regions maybe feeling a bit like they're sitting at the Misfit Toys table. Oops. It's a huge country, so naturally not every island gets the same slice of the development pie.
On religion, oh, don't even get me started. Indonesia is majority Muslim, which is cool, but then Muslim, which is cool, but then you have significant Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, and traditional belief minorities. It's like a religious rainbow cake, looks amazing, but are all the layers getting equal frosting?
And it's not always sunshine and rainbows in the religious harmony department. You hear about tensions, sometimes even clashes. Well, it's a delicate balancing act, like trying to carry a ray of nasi goreng and desi and all through a crowded market without spilling.
And then there's Thailand, a land of smiles and also a pretty diverse place, though maybe not on the Indonesian scale of a million islands diverse. Thailand's got its Thai majority, obviously, but also significant Malay, Chinese, and other ethnic groups. It's more like a well-mixed salad, perhaps.
A well-mixed salad, I like that. Thailand definitely has its own blend. Unlike Indonesia, they officially promote harmony and tolerance. But again, look closer, and you see some groups might feel that less harmonious said. Is that a word? If not, I just invented it.
Harmonia said I'm adding that to my stand-up vocab. But yeah, in Thailand, you have the ethnic minorities in the north and south sometimes feeling a bit marginalized, like they're watching the party from outside the VIP rope. Plus, the whole issue with migrant workers, especially from neighboring countries.
Migrant workers. That's a big one in both places, isn't it? Like, they contribute so much, keeping the economies humming. But sometimes they're not exactly treated like VIP guests themselves. Ouch. It's like they're the secret ingredient in the pad thai, but nobody thanks the spice rack.
Right. And in Thailand, you can ignore the whole north-south divide, culturally and economically. It's not as geographically spread out as Indonesia, but the gaps are still there, like a crack in a perfectly smooth mango sticky rice. Oops. Ruins the presentation, you know.
Mango sticky rice metaphor genius. But seriously, both countries face similar challenges. Balancing national unity with regional identities, religious freedom with majority preferences, and economic development that actually reaches everyone. It's a massive juggling act.
And let's not forget LGBTQ rights. Thailand often gets the rep as this super open, anything goes paradise. Wow, but dig a little deeper, and the legal rights haven't quite caught up with the image. It's more like tolerant vibes than actual legal equality.
Tolerant vibes, another great phrase. Indonesia, on the other hand, is generally more conservative on LGBTQ issues. So, in that area, Thailand might seem a bit more socially equal on the surface, but still has a way to go for true equality.
So I think that we can conquer that. So in a nutshell, both Indonesia and Thailand are diverse and fascinating places, but social equality, respect for minorities, and diversity is still a work in progress. A long-term project, like learning to perfectly pronounce Krung the Piamahan Akhonim Onratan Akos and Mon Akhonim Onratan Akos and Mahad E Lukfop and Opifwa and Amon Find Am on Fiman Watan said hit Saka that Teo Coffin Torsenance. Good luck with that.
If you can pronounce that, Leo, he'll buy you a lifetime supply of mango sticky rice and nasi goreng. Aha! But yeah, work in progress sums it up perfectly. Maybe in our next episode, we can compare how they're actually trying to make progress, policy-wise.
Sounds like a plan. In the meantime, folks, if you're enjoying these deep dives into global cultures and our attempts at humor, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. And for more detailed comparisons, you know where to go, Jedalfea.
Yes, Jedalfea is your go-to for all things travel and culture comparison. And hey, maybe leave a comment, tell us what you think about diversity in Indonesia and Thailand. We're all ears or eyes since we're reading comments. Our current topic, we compare taxation, retirement, and social rights for long-term immigrants into countries. Sounds a bit dry, doesn't it? Like who throws a party for taxes? But hey, if you're thinking of living somewhere exotic for a while, knowing this stuff is like knowing where the good coffee shops are essential.
Dry? Mira, you say everything's dry if it's not covered in glitter and served with a side of dance music. But yeah, taxes and retirement, not exactly beach vibes, but definitely stops you from ending up on the beach with no money. Unless, you're going for the beach bum retirement plan, which frankly has its own appeal.
Beach bum retirement plan. Oh, now you're talking my language. Imagine, no taxes, just sunshine and sand. But okay, back to reality, slightly less glamorous reality. Indonesia. Land of a million islands. And taxes. For long-termers, you gotta think about your income getting taxed there, right? It's not just waving hello to friendly monkeys, is it?
Monkeys are definitely tax exempt, I checked. But for us humans, yeah, Indonesia has income tax. Now, let's just say it's not always as straightforward as ordering nasi goreng. It depends on how long you're staying, where your income's from, all that fun paperwork jazz. Prepare for forms, my friend. Mountains of forms.
Mountains of forms. Whoa! Sounds like climbing Mount Bremer, but with less scenic views and more headaches. Ouch. So, if you're earning money while living in Indonesia, best to get friendly with an accountant, maybe? We'll learn to speak fluent tax from language.
Fluent tax form language now, if it's a skill they should teach in language schools. Forget Indonesian, just learn to decipher tax codes. Could be more useful, honestly. And yeah, accountant is your new best friend. Unless you enjoy deciphering Indonesian bureaucracy for fun, which I'm guessing is a very niche hobby.
Niche hobby indeed. Maybe for robots, not for humans who prefer sunshine and did I mention coffee? What about Thailand, Leo? Land of smiles and presumably also taxes. Are they easier to handle, or is it another paperwork jungle?
Thailand of smiles and surprisingly complex tax rules. They've got income tax too, of course. But again, it's all about residency, where your money's coming from, and whether you're planning on becoming a full-time pad Thai enthusiast, or just visiting. The good news is they're trying to make it a bit simpler, supposedly.
Supposedly simpler famous last words, right? Still, simpler is good. Maybe just a small hill of forms instead of a mountain? Progress? Ooh. So, for retirement in these places, what's the deal? Can you actually afford to retire like a king in Bali or Phuket? Or is it just a beautiful dream?
Dream with a reality check. Retiring in Indonesia or Thailand can be cheaper than back home for many, especially if you're living on a fixed income. But cheaper doesn't mean free. You still need to prove you have enough funds to support yourself, and you'll need to think about visas, health insurance, and all those lovely practicalities.
Always crashing the party of beautiful dreams, aren't they? Visas, health insurance sounds like grown-up stuff. Yikes. But important grown-up stuff, I guess. So, social rights if you're living long-term. Do you get any of the local social security benefits? Like, if you fall and break a leg doing a spontaneous Bollywood dance? Oops.
Bollywood dance-related injuries are, sadly, not usually covered by Social Security anywhere. But in general, for long-term expats, social rights in both Indonesia and Thailand are limited. You're usually not going to be eligible for the same benefits as citizens unless you jump through some serious hoops and become a resident for tax purposes. And even then it's complicated.
Complicated. The word of the day? So, basically, if you're moving to Indonesia or Thailand long term, you're mostly on your own when it comes to social safety nets. Need to bring your own parachute, metaphorically speaking. Whoa.
Parachute, safety net, sturdy pair of dancing shoes, all essential. Think of it as being an independent adventurer. You're responsible for your own health insurance, your own retirement savings, your own everything, really? The upside? You get to live in paradise. Downside? Paradise doesn't pay your medical bills.
That's a catchy phrase. Maybe we should start a band called Paradise Bills. So, for retirement planning, it's all about being super prepared, right? Like, triple checking everything and definitely having a good emergency fund.
Quadruple checking is the minimum, Mira. Think OC double checking. And yes, emergency fund bigger than your suitcase. Because while Indonesia and Thailand are amazing places to live, they're not exactly known for their generous expat social welfare programs. You are, essentially, planning your own social security system.
Planning your own social security system, wow. Sounds very responsible. Is that even allowed in our podcast? But seriously, this is good to know for anyone dreaming of that tropical escape. It's not just about the pretty beaches, it's about the not-so-pretty paperwork, too.
Exactly. Beaches are great, paperwork. Less so, but knowing what you're getting into with taxes, retirement, and social rights is crucial for making that dream a reality, and not a financial nightmare. Nobody wants to retire in paradise only to discover they can't afford paradise.
Paradise bankruptcy. The ultimate irony. Okay, let's unlearn it. Dream of beaches, plan for taxes, unpack a really, really big emergency fund, and maybe a good accountant's phone number. Anything else wise and witty to add on this topic, Mr. Sharp-Eyed Traveler?
Just this, do your homework. Seriously. Websites like Jet AI probably have some resources, and there are tons of expat forums online where people share their experiences. Don't just rely on pretty Instagram photos. Look behind the palm trees. People, there are tax forms hiding there.
Tax forms hiding behind palm trees. Perfect image to end on. So listeners, if you like this slightly less glamorous but super important episode, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. And maybe check out Jet AI for more practical travel info, including possibly how to wrestle X from into submission.
And if you do manage to wrestle attacks from into submission, please share your secrets in the comments. We're all ears and slightly terrified of paperwork ourselves. Until next time, folks, stay informed. Stay witty and maybe hire an accountant.
Our current topic, we compare the rate of meeting specific interests into countries. From niche hobby clubs to specialized events and community engagement. We briefly touch on this, right? Oh, I mean, think about it, whether you're into underwater basket weaving or competitive rolling, some places just feel more, welcoming to your quirky passions.
Underwater basket weaving. Mira, you always come up with the most unique examples. But, yeah, I get your point. Mia, I get your point. It's like asking if I suddenly decided I wanted to join a club for people who collect belly button lint, or would I have better luck, Jakarta or Bangkok? Probably neither, but let's humor the listeners.
Oh, hey, maybe belly button lint is a tad too niche even for me. But seriously, think about hobbies that are actually, real. Like say, you're obsessed with batik art. Indonesia, obviously right. It's like the motherland of batik. You could probably trip and fall into a batik workshop in Yogyakarta.
True. Indonesia's batik heaven. Walk around any market and you'll be drowning in patterns. But don't Thailand out just yet, Mira. They might not be batik crazy, but they've got their own thing going on. Like Muay Thai. If your specific interest is getting kicked in the face for fun, Bangkok is your city.
Ouch. Maybe not my specific interests, but yeah, Muay Thai is HUGE in Thailand. Wow, so okay, point taken. For martial arts fanatics, Thailand is definitely a hotspot. And for, like, digital nomads, right? Chiang Mai is practically built for people who work online and drink copious amounts of avocado smoothies.
Avocado smoothies, unquestionable life choices, yes. Chiang Mai, the digital nomad Disneyland. But Indonesia has Bali, Mira. Bali is like the spiritual cousin of Chiang Mai, but with better beaches and more Instagrammable sunsets. If your specific interest is finding yourself while taking yoga selfies, Bali wins.
Yoga selfies? You're killing me, Leo. But so true. Bali is definitely the eat, pray, love capital of Southeast Asia. But what about, like, really niche stuff? Say, you're into vintage Vespa scooters. Where would you find a more thriving community? Indonesia or Thailand?
Vespa's hard. Could probably lean towards Indonesia. They seem to have a real thing for classic European scooters there. I've seen more vintage Vespas in Jakarta graphic jams than I have in Rome. Whoa. Thailand. They're more into motorbikes, those flashy Japanese things. Practical, but less stylish for the Vespa enthusiast.
That's the key word, Leo. Vespas are all about style. Oh, okay. So Indonesia for vintage scooter aficionados. But what if your specific interest is, like, really obscure? Like competitive insect collecting? Or interpretive dance with chickens?
Interpretive dance with chickens. Mira, where do you even come up with these things? But okay, obscure interests. You'd say Thailand might have an edge there, just because Bangkok is such a massive, sprawling city. More people, more weirdos. Statistically speaking, Indonesia is more spread out, less concentrated weirdness per square kilometer.
Concentrated weirdness. I love it, Leo. Oh, but so Bangkok for maximum weirdness potential. But Indonesia has this amazing tradition of community, right? Like, go to Engroy on that spirit of mutual help and cooperation. Wouldn't that make it easier to find people who share your interests, even if they're...
Go to Engroyong, yeah. The whole village helping you build your house thing. Nice in theory, but in practice, go to Engroyong for competitive insect collecting. I'm not so sure, Mira. Villagers might be more interested in helping you get rid of the insects, though maybe if you framed it as a way to boost agricultural yields some. Strategic insect collecting.
Strategic insect collecting? Okay, you're stretching it now, Leo. But I see what you mean. Maybe go to Engroyong is more for practical community stuff, not necessarily niche hobbies. But Indonesia does have these incredible traditional arts and crafts, right? When Kulit puppet shows, gamelan music if you're into that kind of thing. Indonesia is like a treasure trove. Wow.
True, Indonesia wins hands down for traditional arts. Gamelan, Wayang Kulit, all that amazing stuff. Thailand has its Kunmas dance and classical Thai music, which are beautiful but maybe less accessible for the casual enthusiast. Indonesia's traditional arts feel more woven into everyday life, like you might just stumble upon a gamelan performance in a village square.
And think about food, Leo. Indonesian cuisine is so diverse. From spicy Sumatran curries to sweet Japanese guji if your specific interest is eating your way through a country. Indonesia is a culinary adventure playground. Ooh.
Culinary adventure playground, yes. But Thailand, Mira, Thai food. It's globally famous for a reason. Pad Thai, green curry, mango sticky rice if your specific interest is Instagramming perfectly plated dishes that also happen to taste amazing. Thailand is pretty hard to beat. Plus, street food seen in Bangkok.
Street food legends. Okay, go Thailand's street food scene is epic, I admit it. But Indonesian street food is amazing too. Gado gado, say Thai, nasi goreng and it's often cheaper than in Thailand. So, budget foodies might actually prefer Indonesia. Aha!
Budget foodies, maybe. But for pure, unadulterated variety in street food, Bangkok's Chinatown alone could keep you eating for a month. Plus, Thailand has those floating markets. Eating noodles from a boat while dodging tourist experience, and kinda fun in a chaotic way.
You're making Thailand sound like a delightful mess, Leo. But back to specific interests, what about, like, nature lovers? Both countries have incredible natural beauty, right? Indonesia has volcanoes, rainforests, Komodo dragons, Thailand's jungles, it's a tall.
Nature lovers, yeah, both are winners. Indonesia for sheer scale and biodiversity. Sumatra has rainforests, Borneo has orangutans, Raya Ampat squirrel reefs, Mindobao and stuff. Thailand is more packaged nature, easier to access, more tourist-friendly national parks, well-trodden hiking trails. Depends if you want to rough it in a beach after a gentle nature walk.
Cocktails on a beach after a gentle nature walk sounds lovely, Leo. But Indonesia also has amazing beaches, and diving, and surfing. Bali's surf scene is world class, and Komodo for diving with manta rays. Wow.
Bali surfing is great, yeah, but Thailand has Phuket and Koh Lanta, all those islands in the south. Party beaches, quiet beaches, diving beaches. Thailand's beaches are more developed, easier to get to, more resorts, more infrastructure. Indonesia's beaches can be more rustic, which some people prefer, of course.
Beach vibe, right? Oh, so for beach bums, both are amazing, just different vibes. But for, like, history buffs, Indonesia has Busudan P, Ramban, and N temples. Ancient kingdoms, Thailand has 8 Waishan, Sukhoti. Also, incredible historical sites, another tough one.
History buffs another Thai. I'd say, Busudan P, Ramban are stunning, no doubt. But Waishan and Sukhoti are also UNESCO Old World Heritage Sites for a reason. Plus, Thailand has that whole Siamese kingdom history, which is pretty fascinating. Maybe Indonesia has more ancient history vibes. Thailand's history feels a bit more recent.
Ancient history vibes. I like that. Leo. Oh, beda. Leo. Oh. So Indonesia for ancient history vibes. Maybe Thailand for more recent kingdom history vibes. But what about nightlife? If your specific interest is partying till dawn, which country wins? Bangkok or Jakarta? Wow!
Nightlife, Bangkok. Hands down, Mira. Bangkok is a 24-hour city. Rooftop bars, go-go bars, nightclubs that don't even open. Aren't even open until midnight. Jakarta nightlife exists. But it's more underground. Less in your face, less touristy. Bangkok nightlife is a spectacle in itself. A chaotic neon-drenched spectacle.
Neon-drenched spectacle. You're painting such vivid pictures, Leo. Okay, Bangkok for hardcore party animals. But maybe Jakarta is best for, like, live music scenes? Indonesia has a huge music industry. Lots of talented musicians, huh?
Live music, yeah? Indonesia has a thriving local music scene, especially in genres like rock and pop. Jakarta has its share of live music venues, for sure. But Bangkok also has a pretty diverse music scene, from just clubs to indie rock venues to L80 boy cabaret shows. Depends what kind of live music you're after, I guess.
Ladyboy cabaret shows. Oh. Hey, are you really going on Bangkok's unique attractions? But what about family-friendly stuff? If your specific interest is traveling with kids, which country is easier?
Family-friendly Thailand is definitely more geared towards family tourism, Mira. Resorts with kids clubs, water parks, elephant sanctuaries, ethically questionable ones, mostly, sadly, easily